oppressor. The quick answer is I feel like it started with one group and it just spread to others. You know what I mean? I think the only groups the put it like this: the largest groups of African the largest African group in the United States are Nigerians. The largest Caribbean group in the United States are Jamaicans. You know, I think I said this last time. You know, Jamaicans. We had our thing with Jamaicans. I think we got past that, and we accepted. We accept and embrace the things we like about Jamaican culture, and we reject the things we don't like, and vice versa. You know, I think with the Nigerians, there's a lot of they have a competitive. Not all of them, but they have a competitive spirit. They want to compete with everything. You know, they want to say who's the best at academics, athletics, finance, whatever. They like to be competitive, and when they when they can't compete in certain areas, a lot of them crash out. And then a lot of the Nigerians they have successfully brought other groups into their hatred. And I feel like it started with one group, and I think it just spread to others. That's kind of how I see it. Salute book travel. Hassan said, "I like the idea of Black American men marrying women of different cultures." Yeah, it's a touchy situation. You know what I mean? It's a touchy situation. I do have a pro black side, but like I always say, I support the civil rights of the black community. I support the fight for reparations. Um, Dating and relationships, there is a very, it's broken. So in the black community, we gotta fight we gotta fight for the things we agree on. And yeah, just like Democrats and Republicans, you only need to work together. You only should work together on things you agree on. Let's see. And collecting said ignorant ways should be left behind, as we would disrespect them if we were alone in their country. That's true. Buck Travel said I called African booty scratcher, but it's all good. I'm doing better than the ones who called me those names. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you get the last laugh. I mean, I got called African jokes, and I'm not even African. The same generic stories. Someone bullied me or roasted me too. Yeah, it is kind of like for really. But a lot of times, like I said, you can't tell a person how they should feel. You know what I mean? But they should have been prepared. And it's tough love. That's just is what it is. It's tough love. He said no adult person is roasting a stranger. Roasting generally happens amongst friends or people who orbit in the same spaces. Yeah, that's true. He said most black immigrant think black American culture is hip hop culture. Hip hop culture is a subset of black American culture. That's true. He said roasting has historical context that serves to toughen us up for the daily denegation we received that we faced during Jim Crow. Yeah. He said, I get your point, but it's ignorance overall, brother. I'm not telling a stranger nothing. No, I'm not telling a stranger, nothing either. You know what I mean? But like, when I was younger and, kids, we ride the city bus or whatever you guys call it. We call it the city bus. And somebody come on the bus just looking funny to us, like niggas gonna be cracking jokes. It is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. Most of these Africans complain about roasting that happened on the East Coast, and they project blame on all Black Americans. Yeah, it, it is an East Coast thing. People in the Southern region, until very recently, almost no interaction with continental Africans. People in NYC, DC, or Jersey had bad experiences. Yeah, I agree, man. It's more. I feel like it started more of a regional thing, and online being online is connecting everybody together. He said, "I'm interested in owning cattle and land more so than clothes. I do believe you should be fitted, yet I prefer to own land and acres before fitted." I be wanting to roast some of these niggas on these trips I be seeing. I be like, bro, you gonna spend all this money to come to Colombia, DR, and what I mean, you looking like a bum. Some niggas need to be roasted. I'm not gonna roast no stranger either, but you know, we call our culture. Look at YouTube. Why you see people what's the word? They exposing people. Remember Peso Man? That nigga was AA's concerned himself with the clothes on their back more than the land they own. I mean that is a downside. He said I had to ask a Ukrainian guy. He ever considered washing or wearing deodorant. I don't like foul orders. Doesn't matter if they are black. Yeah. Rolling travelers, man. I'm caught up, man. For the
What's
most
going
part, man.
on? What's going on? I'm caught up too.
Okay, okay, okay.
And while you were talking, well, you already know, man, we got this started about a couple days ago when we were on Moses' channel, the Homies Hub channel, who's a first generation Nigerian that was holding a panel open for FBA slash foreign black people in America issue. And we started discussing it. I made two shorts off of that. Matter of fact, I got some more than I'm going to be making, but to your point that you were making earlier, and I kind of made one in the chat, but we're talking about roasting right now, so I'm going to stay on topic. I don't know if you really know the origins of roasting came from the African culture. It came from West African societies. Verbal sparring, playful insults, and it was built around the dozens verbal duels and boasting matches. And it was to serve to show wit, emotional control, and community standing, right along with, to teach resilience and negotiation through humor. So that culture came from Africa. And then when you were talking about, you know, how we dress and faking it until you make it, those are cultures of, in sales. In sales, it was about faking it until you make it. It was ways of becoming popular in self-help books and business and different things like that. And our culture are built with a lot of hustlers, a lot of guys that were trying to build businesses themselves. And then again, like you said, with the dozens, if you were lacking, we called you to the board on it. We called you on the way you were looking, whether you were coming out looking, like you said, like a bum versus somebody that was dressing for success. And if you think about it, back in the 30s and 40s, a brother didn't come outside unless he had a suit. He didn't come outside with some pants on and a holy ass t-shirt. He came out fully dressed. Now our culture and our country has changed where it wasn't required that you wear a suit, but some of the things that we talked about when we were younger and when our grandparents were younger, seersucker suits, you always had to be dressed to impress. You never know who you came across next. So, you know, the whole point of that was to look like you come from something until you were something.
No, I agree with that. Now, I don't know about how roasting started in Africa when we really didn't have the TV, or we didn't have internet or TV, where we could even get that culture from Africa if you from roasting.
Yeah, again, the immigrants who brought it over here. It started on the East Coast. You just said it. I mean, I grew up in Philly, Germantown area. I know what it was when you were out on the school, playground. Kids would roast the fuck out of you if you look crazy. And
Yeah,
then,
you saying it came? You said the Africans started roasting?
yes, bro.
That's a new one, bro.
I just GPT'd it while you were sitting here talking. I said, where did roasting actually come
Man, Chat GPT would be wrong like a motherfucker.
from? No, I'm trying to tell you, there's a lot of it comes from that culture. I'm trying to tell you.
Well, then it really shouldn't be a problem then if
Let
that's the
me
case.
put it this way: how many Asian people you see roasting? How many white people do you see roasting? It came from our culture of having less than, but given the appearance that we had more standing, and it was always about the HBI. Who's the head nigga in charge? And if you didn't look like that, you were being demeaned because you weren't at that level. Even when we have Black Americans that have been here and immigrants coming here, here's the insults: African booty scratcher, you Caribbean, whatever. You get what I'm saying? Because it made the Black Americans that maybe been going through poverty feel better about themselves. Think about it. You always going to belittle the guy just a little bit below you so you can feel better.
That's true too. I mean, that's true too. You know, it could be some undercurrent of hate. I mean,
Exactly.
pretty light skinned girls used to get talked about, and it's like, you what the fuck can you say about this pretty light skinned girl with long curly hair? Why you want to beat her? Why you want to beat her up? You know,
Because she was a pretty light-skinned girl and dark-skinned sisters thought that they weren't getting as much play. You get what I mean? So there's always like, even in the slave quarters, you a house nigga versus a field nigga. There's always some kind of discord between our race and within our culture to make one person feel a little bit better than the other. And if they felt like the other person was above them, they wanted to do something to tear them back down.
I mean,
Like
that's true.
we were just talking the other day on Lions Den, and we were talking about the situation that happened in Cincinnati. And I asked each one of the brothers, Kanal specifically brought up this one story, and he said that, you know, he was in Africa, I think it was Kenya or Nigeria or someplace like that. And, you know, he had the VIP section, he was popping bottles, and he was feeling the hate from one of the bouncers. Because he's sitting there buying drinks for the club, but the killer's what? The bouncer's persona is, hey, I can let you in. He's letting all the cute girls in. He's getting hooked up on the backside. But here you got this brother to come in that's an American throwing money around that belittles his standing in that club. Mm-hmm. He started throwing hate towards Kanal to where he eventually walked up and started pushing up on Kanal. And of course, he has other bouncers behind it. You always going to have some self-hate within our own group because one brother looks like he's just a little bit more successful. One brother is getting more attention than the one that thinks that he should be the center of attention. It's always something like that that starts it off.
Yeah, but it be some truth in roasting too. I mean, niggas used to say I look like you know, Michael Blackston got roasted. Shit, he roasted himself now.
I mean, roasting came from that culture, but then it went into the comedian side of it. You know, yeah. Rudy Ray Moore was a king of roasting. You know, not Robert Townsend, but God, I can't remember. House Party. He played in that before he died. Came out with Bebe's Kids. Mm-hmm. He was king of roasting people. So it switched over to being in comedy as well. But their origins came from us trying to, through wit, hold our community standing versus somebody else. They might have been a little bit brighter, might have had a better personality, but he couldn't talk shit. I couldn't talk shit. I'll tell you that in a heartbeat. I was not a roaster. I was a doer. You know, I could not. I would get tongue-tied trying to roast people. And so I never even tried. And I came from that culture. I came from the East Coast back in the, 60s and 70s and 80s when all that shit was going on. Yeah, but I stayed away from that shit.
Kids gonna be kids too. I mean, that's just we gotta accept that kids, people, they try to pass these bullying laws and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But kids gonna be kids. Like
sometimes Hassan's confirming what I said. And yet, Black Americans took it and transformed it into a whole level of insults. But it started off as friendly banter and humor to kind of keep you on the straight and narrow.
It got me through the day sometimes. Them good laughs, man.
Well, it's cool, man. Especially, I mean, bro, there was roasting circles. Brothers would get in the middle of the bathroom or out on the playground, and they go at it. It was like you almost rap battling, but it was roasting sessions.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Rap battling. That's a good analogy, man. I don't know. Everybody different. I don't have any hard feelings towards my roasting. Being roasted or roasted. Like it was
It
all
made you
fun.
stronger. It made you stronger as an individual. It made you stronger as far as being emotional, intelligent, and not losing your cool. Because really, about roasting was about to get you to lose your cool and come outside yourself. Instead of it being humorous, now you got mad. Oh, now you got your feelings hurt.
Yeah.
It was about being able to control your emotions while you were being roasted. It's transferred over to being online. When you get on a panel, the first person to lose it start cussing, starts getting emotional. That's the one that's losing.
That's why I stopped roasting when I got it when as I became an adult because I realized now it hit home. Like you could call a 10-year-old poor or say y'all ain't got no money. You can say that to a 10-year-old because the 10-year-old don't have control of their life. But you call out somebody adult, like, man, that's why you on food stamps. Like that shit, that's a reality now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't even roast no more because the taxes, like, it hit harder because it's their reality. You know what I
Right.
mean?
I
So
mean, back in the day, it was about your mama couldn't afford shoes, so you had Pro Wings.
right.
You went to Payless in order to get your shoes. It was always about something, about your clothes. It was about your shoes. It was always about your fit or your shoes or whatever, or you smell, things like that. Now it's even bigger.
hmm We
Now
we
you
used to,
not if you can't drop 5 stacks right now online, you ain't shit. You ain't making no money. First of all, Ninja, why you got 5 stacks in your house like that? To me, that gives me drug dealer personality. I don't know any wealthy individual keeps 5 stacks on them like that.
hey, I'm an adult, but like in the black community, if a nigga laughing, if a nigga laughing at a joke too hard, be like, hey nigga, you laughing a little too hard. I'm about to
Right.
get on your ass. We used to call it ribbon too, Heartthrob, in Milwaukee. We used to say ribbon. We used to say ribbon.
Mm-hmm.
He said I wasn't a roaster either, but I was always well dressed. I grew up in middle class community. We
Yep.
didn't roast. We didn't roast much in my area, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
See, I'm in Philly, man. Niggas is funny as hell in Philly.
Oh yeah.
Actually, elbows me.
Like I
I
said, that's
damn.
where I got most of the exposure was in Philly. By the time I moved to Kansas, man, that shit wasn't going on in the 80s.
Mm, we need to
There's
have a.
too many white people in Kansas. I mean, it was always in our culture, in our cities and towns, that you had roasters.
I need to see a roast session on a panel, man. This niggas is just.
Yeah, that's
that's a.
what,
That's
man, that's
a,
what Razor Ray got famous for was roast sessions online.
yeah, yeah. And to me, it's all fun and games, man.
You get your feelings hurt. Now you're gonna go home mad. You're getting all upset. You get tongue tied, whatever, and you lose. Next.
But I said this on a different panel, but I think that I get the sensitivity, I get all that, but a lot of immigrants we got to set some ground rules, like, you know what I mean, like some things are just a no in my opinion. Like you can't, you know, I hate seeing jeans and open toe sandals, the strap sandals, you know. And a lot of Africans are they be comfortable. You know, that's comfortable. You know, they like the sandals and stuff. But it's just like, man, you gonna always get roasted with sandals. That's just in the hardcore black community. Like we all it's certain things we're always gonna roast. You know.
Well, yeah. I mean, Dan said ashy elbows and knees. AM collecting data says, but why insult someone else? I've got better things to accomplish, to make commentary on someone else's life. But that's the whole thing. A lot of people back then, and even now, when they're in a low situation, all they got is time to
Yeah.
roast on people. But you're right. If you have a busy life, you ain't got time to sit there and think about what's wrong with somebody in front of you.
Yeah.
You trying to make your own money.
That's true. That's true. It's part of our culture. I mean, not every black person participate in roasting and stuff like that, but it is part of our culture. I mean, there's there's a lot of aspects of our culture that other FBAs don't like. Some people don't like when people use the N word. Some people don't like that. You know, for example.
I'm laughing at Big Mike's comment. He goes, "Yeah, you could tell FBA or not when they start looking at ashy elbows, whether they're immigrant." Because they used to get on us about, hey, put that lotion on before you get out the house with your hands and your elbows, right? That was like a default thing. Your mom, whoever,
Yeah.
don't put the lotion on your hand, boys. Your hand looking dry as fuck. And hell, I'm light skinned, so I'm gonna down myself. That shit looked real crazy on me if I was ashy.
Or your hair ain't come. I remember it was this one joke. It still stick to me one day. It was this one girl. She came to school. Her hair didn't look calm. This nigga was like, "You look like you was in a drop top jet." Niggas was just niggas just that was one of the funniest shits I heard, man. But ah,
It's kind of funny how you brought into roasting when it deals with FBA and immigrants and how they turn into roasting sessions because they're becoming roasting sessions because one culture is trying to look what better than the other. One culture is trying to say FBAs don't have a culture, yet and still, like I was saying on the panel, we're not the ones that are fucking broke. We're not the ones leaving our country to go and try to make money in your country. We might be coming to your country for your women. We might be coming to your country because they're raised to be more feminine. We ain't coming to your country to make money though, Ninja. You coming to our country. We're not broke. Y'all broke. But again, it's all perception when somebody's trying to roast you.
but you know what? Public schools we didn't really do it in Milwaukee, but I seen it in like Chicago and other schools. They started implementing uniforms because of that.
Yeah, because some kids couldn't afford to have the Jordans. Some kids couldn't afford to have the nice clothes. I remember Z Cavaricci back in the day. Brother wasn't doing shit if he didn't have no Z Cavaricci on. You had club clothes, bro. You could not go to a club without having a fit.
Mm-hmm.
And you only put those clothes on when you were heading to a club. You don't wear those every day because you look like a fool out in the streets.
Yeah.
So you actually had regular formal wear, you had regular wear for business, you had your casual shit, and you had club clothes because that shit was out of this world different than regular
Yeah.
clothes. And you only showed up in the club. Everybody seeing you in those clothes knew you were heading to a club.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm disconnected from what's going on in high school, middle school. But I mean, is this kids still roasting? Is it more schools
Oh
where
yeah.
you?
Now you broke. If you broke, if you don't got a car, you broke about a whole bunch of shit now. Kids are more materialistic. I
Yeah.
mean, let me put it this way.
We talked about that, Big Mike.
Yeah, I want to say this. That MTV ruined a lot of shit for a lot of black families. MTV Cribs, to Sweet 16, those motherfucking shows right there started showing the difference between a wealthy kid's family and what they would get for a 16-year-old birthday versus a regular kid in the hood and what he wasn't getting. So then the sense of entitlement started coming the generation after that. And it just progressively started getting worse and worse and worse. It's like each family had to try to top the next family on what they were fucking doing.
Yeah, yeah. It's a it's I'm Ronan. This is difficult when something is ingrained in a lot of us as our culture, and for the betterment of relationships, we need to turn it down. But it's hard, you know. It was like, for example, right? And I didn't like roast the dude or nothing, but like, at my job, it was this new guy, right? And I'm an older brother to him, and so he's smiling. He like, man, he happy to see a black face. So he chopped it up with me, during our lunchtime a lot. And I
Right.
asked him where he from. He like, he mentioned he Haitian, from Florida. He moved to Philly, and I'm just like, cool, cool, cool. And one day, he got like a little managerial position. He was like, yeah, that's my, he was like, that's my car right there, the BMW. And
Mhm.
he was happy about it. But the nigga in me was like, nigga, this a 3 Series. Like this.
I already know what you were about to do.
I'm like, this a bitch car. In my a lot of us look at certain vehicles as bitch cars. I mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is. But I didn't say that, but I'm just like, but I knew subconsciously, like, if I was to even crack a joke like that, it would be
Right.
taken like either on he hating, or what I
But
mean,
see,
or something
I
like
would
that.
here's the thing. I would bust myself out, and I still would. Man, I drive a fucking 2010 Ford Expedition, but I fixed the fuck out of that shit. That shit is lifted by 4 inches, got big ass fucking 34. I'm a fucking country boy, got a mentality type of dude. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I got a roof rack, all kind of side steps. I got a bull ring bar in the front. I got my tire on the back. I mean, I'm a off-road country go hiking type of dude. I'm not a city boy,
Yeah.
even though I might have been born in a city. So I'll off myself in a heartbeat. I don't buy brand new cars. I used to sell cars. I know that's the quickest way of depreciating any kind of value is a fucking vehicle. You go
Okay,
buy
I
a
see.
$170,000 car, and that car ain't worth that shit by the time you get done with your payments. Look at my boy pulling up on the panel. Yo, I was just talking about you and your story about the hate you were getting from the bouncer in Africa.
Oh, it's all good. I just wanted to say you guys got cooked by that Haitian dude yesterday, man.
Ah, man, we didn't get cooked by nobody. I took
I
that
was
whole
laughing my ass off, man. Look, let me tell you this. That meeting had shit to say, man. Bro was coming at his neck. I'm like, oh, I was laughing my ass off, man. The
I
thing
know who
is,
you were talking about,
man,
but that dude, he was refusing facts. He
I
really
understand, but you know what? As much fuck shit a lot of these people like to talk on, he brought his, man. I loved it, man.
he
I
brought his
enjoyed it.
delusion is what he brought. He didn't bring reality. He couldn't prove anything he was saying. I'm
I mean,
pulling out fact after fact after fact.
the thing is, like, the way we immigrants think is completely different how FBAs thinks. So,
Exactly.
so it's like, the fact that there's a new movement where you guys want to like stand out, which is okay. You guys have every right to do so. But most Caribbean Africans, we don't give a fuck, man. Like, I'm just keeping it brutally honest. Like, we don't care. We're here on survival mode. We can't
Right.
do nothing, and we're like, hey, listen, we're gonna do what we need to do to put ourselves in a better position.
Right. And like I said on the panel the other day, I'm gonna say it again. FBAs don't give a fuck what y'all do as immigrants. Just don't speak on our behalf because you have black skin and you're part of the overall black community when you're counted. Don't speak on our history like you know it. That's
Oh,
all we ask.
I mean, most definitely. But
Yes, y'all can come out here, take advantage of whatever. Yeah, we can bitch and moan, but hey, we should have been up on the fucking rules of the game. We should have known there was a grant. We should have known there was a college, application there that you could get in order to get a scholarship. We should have known those things. You guys informed yourselves. You took advantage of the system. Great. But the only thing we could tell you not to do, don't speak on our behalf as if you're
do
fucking.
people do that though? Do a lot of immigrants?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the problem. You got a lot of mayors and stuff that look like they're in positions like we were just talking about the Chicago city mayor that you would think was an FBA, but actually he's like a second generation immigrant.
Okay. But I mean,
Like I,
just in general, man, it's like, I'm first generation, and yeah, we didn't have it great here in this country, and yeah, I'll be the first to say it, and I even wrote an article on it and a blog about it. Haiti is a shithole due to the fact that it wasn't made to be that way. It was forced to be that way. Um, but at the same time, it's like, bro, we come here hungry. It is what it is. We come here first generation. We make shit happen. That's it. We like for us. We don't have time to look at white supremacy. We don't have time to look at some of the stuff that you guys look at and pay attention to. We're trying to put food on the table.
right. That's what I said earlier. Like I could accept that immigrants come here. They don't come here to support our civil rights movements. They don't. I accept that they come here for survival or for the bag. But just like I could accept that, they got to accept that there's a lot of black people that don't support immigration.
Yeah,
That's not gonna support.
I'll be the first one to say I don't support it that much. That open border shit, I don't believe in that. Like the way my mother, yes, I came in this country illegally. It may sound hypocritical, but at the same time, we still had to like fight tooth and nail to get the little things we had. But now this crop of immigrants that's come to this country, dude, they're getting everything to Section 8, food stamp, Medicaid,
Who?
mortgage. I
Hold on,
mean,
hold on, one black. Who is Aeon Jack in the background? Y'all know who that is?
Aeon Jack, I don't know that person, but I hope Uncle Rico hits that link.
Okay. All right, cool. I see you. I got you. You can turn your camera off. All right, you can turn your camera off.
Yeah, you don't have to keep it on. Unless you
All right,
want.
yeah,
all right. Go
just
ahead.
going back to what I was saying, is like even as an immigrant myself, who came into this country illegally on a boat with my mother back in 1978. So I understand the struggle of like doing things the right way, waiting in these long immigration lines. Couldn't get go to school yet until I have my papers. I understand that, but today immigrants they come in with that level of entitlement where they feel like they entitled to all this shit. And I'm like, wait,
Right.
hold on. I mean, trust me, a lot of us Haitian Americans, we are pushing back towards Haitians that come here. We let them know straight up, you can't bring that dumb shit here. We tell them that. But at the same time, it's just like, we're not everywhere. We're not in Springfield, Ohio, or Hershey, Pennsylvania. But the ones in Miami, where there's a large concentration of Haitian Americans, we do try to correct the Haitians that come in and let them know, like, listen, you can't do certain things a certain way the way you want it. You can't be not, nor you could be entitled to receive benefits because you just got here.
But
You
you
know.
still got some hard heads in here that you don't know what you're talking about. Leave us alone. We're gonna do what we're gonna do.
Let me say this real quick. I was on a panel today, and there's a lot of black immigrants that were questioning why some FBAs support Trump's immigration policies. And we got, the ones that do support his immigration policies. We got a right to support. We can support it. You know what I mean?
You shouldn't
We
feel
can,
guilty about that because there's a lot of immigrants, particularly black immigrants, who support Trump's immigration policy. A
That's
lot.
what I'm saying. Yeah, a lot of them. That was their boy. What? We made money when Trump was in office. Now you got your Negro wake up call. And he wants your ass up out of here. Now it's a switch up. Oh, we don't bullshit. There was a
I'll
whole
tell
bunch
you this
of
right now. I'll tell you this.
flags and everything else.
There's a division between immigrants, the first generation versus the
go
new.
ahead.
There's a division between the generations that have been here, immigrants that understand how the system works, versus the one that just got here.
That's true.
There's a division. Line from Jamaicans, Haitian, Mexicans, Cubans, Venezuelans. There's a division. We try to separate ourselves from that because they don't understand. Like, dude, there's a process that you need to go through. But when you come here and you open the borders and you allow anybody in that have criminal backgrounds or you don't know
Right.
what they're doing and they come in and integrating into our communities, you don't know what to expect. I mean, I look at Chicago. I mean, Chicago's my second home. But what I'm here, what I saw a bunch of Venezuelans running that shit down.
Right.
So I mean, my thing is when I hear other immigrants complaining, it's like, bro, it's like unless you understand how the system works here, and you accept for what it is, yeah, you want everybody to come in with open borders and accept all the great things that this country offers, but at the same time not even pay taxes. That's unfair.
Hey, no excuse. I sent that link for you to play real quick. It was me arguing with Mosa about how, you know, black.
Well, I'm on my phone, so I don't know how to open multiple windows and stuff like that.
Let me see if I can share it.
Okay. Good question, Rico.
Can I say something real quick while you guys are listening to that quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Aeon Jack, you speaking? We can't hear
You
you.
know what? Hey, I want to say something. This is towards old crusty ass. Hey, if Haitians are the reason why Haiti the way it is, and the Africans are the way African is, the niggas are the way the black community is. The black community is fucked up because of niggas, and the fact that black folks didn't step up and correct the shit.
What?
Hey, brother.
Wait a minute. I missed that whole thing.
What?
I missed that whole thing. What was that?
I said, if you guys gonna blame Haiti is the way it is because the Haitian or Africans are the way it is because of Africans, then the black community within the United States is a shithole the way it is because of black folks.
Can I interject to you, gentlemen?
Go ahead. Yeah, Jack, we've been waiting for you to get your
Yeah,
mic.
you can just call me Jack. No worries. Hey, what I would want to say to all communities is that we have no real control as far as, you know, the immigration process
Right.
in this government. We have no control over so many elements. So us arguing about one thing or another that we don't have any real control over, I don't think is really, you know, a poignant argument. We only have so many senators in Congress. I think we should focus more on, you know, tangibles that we can attain instead of shooting down different groups for things that they ultimately cannot control.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at one of the comments. I get what you're saying. At the end of the day, we're a small 12% of the overall population in all of America. We got better things that we can be talking about than the difference between the different parties of immigration, whether it be Caribbean immigrants versus African immigrants versus the ones that have already been here. Tried, true, and tested. You know, but to Black Man Travels, I don't know if you can share that link I just put at the bottom. I don't know if you can activate it. No excuse, but I put the video for you to click the button. But to Black Man Travels' point, whether you say we don't own up our own shitholes. First of all, Black Americans, as shitty as we might live, as ghetto as we might have it, our ghetto is nowhere in comparison close to any of the other ghettos in all these other fucking countries.
I mean, come on, man. Come on.
We are still doing better. Like I was telling Mosa on the other channel, we're not the ones that are
fucking project. Look, y'all projects is our Beverly Hills. Y'all projects is our Beverly Hills. Listen, there's no comparison. However, this is what I'm going to say. If you guys are going to go ahead and look at other countries like, hey, it's run down because of them, dude, look at within the black communities, bro. I've been all over 36 states, and all the black communities pretty much the same shit.
Yeah.
And bro, so before you guys stop,
hold up, because the
on these other countries, look at your own communities. Look at your own community. Atlanta and going to any Martin Luther King Boulevard is a fucking
right. But the whole point is there is a Martin Luther King Boulevard in almost every goddamn state.
Man.
Keep it a buck. There is a Martin Luther King Boulevard.
I get my respect towards FBAs. I owe
things
them
that have
respect,
done
you
something.
know, all that. But listen, I ain't gonna sit here and pretend like,
We
yo,
may have redlining, but you guys have whole countries that are still fucked up. We might have redlining. We might have been held back at a certain point in time in our history and development in America, but you got whole countries that are being ruled by a fraction of the people that are there. Fix that shit.
That's not the United States?
No, hell no.
God. So
We have never claimed to own the United States. Hold up. We have never outnumbered. Listen. We have never outnumbered the white coalition been in the United States. But you guys have the numbers and you're still being controlled.
Listen, you compare the United States to any country, particularly a Caribbean country, a poor Caribbean country, doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. However, I'm looking at within the United States, why the fuck the black community is not compared to the China community, or to the Pakistani community, or to the Indian community, or to the Chinese community?
They're not that big.
Black community,
they move silently. That's the only difference between those communities and ours.
That's the real
They move more silently, and we're more boisterous about how we move.
Other countries look at black communities. Why the black communities cannot compare up to the Asian community, the Indian community, the Hispanic community? Even the Hispanic community got better infrastructure than the black community. Why is that?
You think so? How so?
Well, what? Come on, man. I got 5 minutes, man, for myself to get in the car. So don't fucking shit.
Hey, yo, hey, how about this?
Let me say this real quick.
Rico, hit the link, bro. Stop sniping from the goddamn tag. Come up on the panel, bro.
Let me say this real quick. And I learned this. I see this from being a homeowner. People that own homes don't care more about their neighborhoods than people that rent. So groups of people that own their homes, yeah, their neighborhood's gonna look a little bit better because they have a interest. But if you in a neighborhood, everybody renting, they don't give a fuck about their streets. They throwing trash and all type of shit around.
Well, fellas, I gotta bounce. My little ones just got in. Guys, enjoy the show, bro. Later, man.
All right, bro. Appreciate it.
So, yo, Joint. Hey, I'm gonna say this right now to that brother who just left. His point was that other communities have more infrastructure, and this is true. Now, I'm on the West Coast, so I'm from Cali, and here, you know, other communities that have, for instance, I don't know if you guys are familiar with a supermarket chain called Cardina's.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
predominantly.
The link's in my chat, man.
Okay.
It's at the top of the chat, but I'll drop it in here too.
The thing is that a lot of other groups also have other countries to which they can bring resources to trade for monetary value. We only have, you know, the things that we can create with our own hands, starting with nothing. So maybe we should just focus on building those things, but you know, somebody got to get some farmland, somebody to produce goods that can be sold in the market. So maybe we should focus more on, you know, building meat farms, growing tobacco, sugar, and these various items, because commodities is really what rules the world. And if you don't have access to sell your commodities, then you'll always be at a bottom place. Now, we could say we have entertainment, sports, music, and stuff like that. But those people who have already attained those high statuses in those select areas, why not put up a bank trust, for example, to where, okay, you run a business, let's say Rock Nation, for example, just to give one. Why not allow people to buy into Rock Nation, become shareholders, and then we make purchases in other venues or avenues? It's about the mindset.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but we've done all that. We've had blank banks. We've had successful towns, and what did they do to us? They burned them all down. So we started learning through history, why do we need to build anything that's in one area so that they can just come in and burn it down or find a reason to fuck it up? We just don't do it
Exactly
anymore.
my point. So many of us now we're starting to travel. Now we're starting to be able to delve into these other countries and stuff like that. Why not go and start families, for example, either by marriage or just getting your regular citizenship, and then starting to build those things that cannot be taken away from you. And then if you have various different countries and areas that you are succeeding in as far as business, then you can come back and invest here in America. That's kind of why I
Hold
was
on,
asking No
hold on.
Excuse. Is he interested in marrying into any of these various countries that he's been to?
Old Krusty, if you're in my room, the link is pinned to the chat. We've dropped the link in the chat a couple times before this, so I don't know what's wrong with your old eyes. Put your reading glasses on, brother. The link is sitting there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, as a passport, bro. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm obviously open to marrying into a different community, um, but I do like to separate my dating relationship interests separate from, you know what I mean, my fight for civil rights and even reparations for the black community in the United States.
I mean, but to Jack's point, a lot of brothers are married overseas. Unfortunately, this passport bro movement is very young, but the movement that isn't very young are black military guys or military altogether. I know brothers been married for 20, 30 years. We've been traveling since the 40s.
Well, yeah,
We've
I'm
been
I'm
traveling
also a veteran.
right. So you already know
Well,
we
yeah,
have
I'm
been
speaking.
traveling. We have been
Yeah, I'm
married.
speaking from someone who is a veteran, and
Right.
I'm just saying we don't own tanks, weapon manufacturing facilities, stuff like that. So other countries really do have that, and so it's better to team up with people who we can take our hard-earned money and build up these infrastructures, and then you can have a little bit more sway. But to just say like, oh, okay, now we're just going to go by the term of FBA. Yes, we're foundational. I get it. I don't really mind the term, but I also think that we don't have to be so exclusionary in our thinking, because anyone can basically have a child by anyone. So we can build into these groups and still use that outside power to add sway into what's going on here in America, just like everyone else does.
No, I
Europeans,
totally
they
agree with you.
they,
I totally agree with you
they
with that.
have to import guns, infrastructure, everything into America for it to become what it is today for them. We have to just look at history and do some of the same things, because we're already on the land, but we have to make real infrastructure for trade and everything else in order to build up things. Now I know that we're coming from a net zero point, but the cool thing is that most of us have traveled. We've seen how other people do it. We see that other people got shops in other countries and stuff like that. All over Africa, there's Indians, Chinese, and stuff like that who are building up these infrastructures. We should be doing the same, just because that's just a smart move to make.
Right, I understand. And the difference between America and a lot of these other cultures where we might be able to build infrastructure and assist in business and growing the culture and influencing some of that, we still don't have the level set of rights. And at any given time, I don't know if you knew what was happening in some African nations when Trump started kicking people out as far as being illegal immigrants. Some of the African nations, even though you invested a lot of money in business, kicked your ass out and assumed the business under the infrastructure of the country. Do you realize that was happening?
Yes, but okay. So I'll share a little bit more personally. Now I
Okay.
have children in Thailand. My kids
Okay.
are natural born Thai citizens.
Correct.
They're not going to take from their own.
Correct. That's the only way. Yes.
So that's what
Anybody
I
that's ever
mean.
heard me, yeah, Jack. Anybody that's ever heard me Once I buy land here, there's children involved. I'm in the Philippines myself. So one comes before the other. You get what I'm saying? Because then they can't take it away from my children, their birthright of being here as naturalized citizens
Exactly.
of the Philippines. Right. So you can breed yourself into a culture, but we can't outright go in as different, like Americans in a whole nother country and think that we can influence change. It was going to have to come through a generational type of thing. You get what I mean? Through our children
And
or our children.
and that's just what we got to do. We got to get it how we live.
Right. I agree with you there. I'm all for that. Uncle Rico, did you figure out how to hit the link, or is no excuse not paying attention?
No, he not in the background.
What the hell? I don't know how many different ways you can drop a link in the chat.
Unless he's not watching.
No, he's saying he can't see the link. And I done dropped it. You done dropped it. I don't know how many ways. In my room, it's pinned to the top. I don't know. Maybe he's drinking. I don't know what time it is.
Okay, I see him now. Hold on. Okay.
In the morning. Yeah, it's 5:30 in the morning here. So I don't know. Maybe brother drinking. Are you all right over there, Rick?
You know I'm drinking. You know I'm drinking. It ain't 5:30 in the morning here. It's 5:30 in the afternoon here in the evening. Yeah. I'm sorry your buddy left out. It was crazy listening to it. I was just so surprised to hear those white ring talking points about, poor black neighborhoods. I'm like, I'm right here in the DMV. I'm outside. I'm like, brother, have you never heard of Prince George's County, Maryland, or Charles County, Maryland? Two of the most wealthiest, predominantly black counties in the entire fucking country. It's insane that he says, I'm like, no, you just keep going to projects.
Housewives
tons of wealthy, well-to-do black neighborhoods. Matter of fact, the latest controversy is about Ralph Lauren, and they're talking about Oak Bluffs in Martha's Vineyard, which is a predominantly wealthy enclave where black people used to be able to go to.
Right.
I'm like, you're just not educating yourself. I'm sorry. That's a you thing. That's not a us thing.
I keep telling people I didn't come from the hood.
No, but there are tons of wealthy neighborhoods. Also, so I'm like, okay, so the African Americans have a place on Martha's Vineyard. Can you tell me the Hispanic neighborhood on Martha's Vineyard? Can you tell me the Asian space on Martha's Vineyard? They don't have any. They don't.
They have in other countries, but they don't have anything established in America like that.
So,
no.
I mean, and all throughout the West Coast in California, there are very well-to-do black neighborhoods in America. They just don't advertise. You live there, you know, or you don't. Of course, all of the attention will go on the Comptons and areas like that. That is nowhere near the majority of black neighborhoods. It's insane. And to be a black man with black children, he should educate himself better. I'm sorry that his feelings got hurt when I said what I said about Haiti. I didn't say it to be offensive. I just said it because it's true. The Haitian corruption is just as much response. I totally agree that Western forces have done shit to Haiti, but when they step out of the way, the Haitian leaders still fuck over their people. So I don't want to hear this.
I wish you could play this video I have attached right now at the bottom, but I know you're on your phone. But
because
I have
reality is,
run it up against an African.
This, Ronan, who the fuck is Barbecue? Can anybody tell me who Barbecue is? Who the fuck is Barbecue? And what is he? He's a Haitian in Haiti, killing motherfuckers. So don't give me this bullshit. So tell me what black neighborhood in the black community where we're kidnapping people and we're fucking eating them and shit like that. It don't exist.
Heartthrob, I see you in the back, but your internet not strong enough, so it's not letting me bring you up.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to go on the tip, but it just.
No, you're right. You were absolutely right, and that's why I was trying to tell him. Like I said, you might want to say that we have shithole neighborhoods, but even our worst neighborhood, like he said, is like Bel Air to them. Right. So how can you, in one breath, you say we have shithole ghettos, but our ghettos are still, and that's why I say I encourage a lot of brothers, if they ain't got shit going on, young men, to travel, whether it be through military or whether you get your passport and travel, because the worst areas you can go into in other countries, you will have a better appreciation for what you have and the advantages you have here. That's why a lot of these immigrants can come here and feel like they're in they're in one of the best hotels, even if they're in the ghetto, because it's still far better.
Well, what the reality
than what
is,
they had when they first got here.
Ronan, this is what I hear from him. As a first generation immigrant, which is what he is, because he even admitted, he comes over to America like most immigrants do, with that white worship mentality. They believe white ice is colder. They buy into the white supremacy. So because white supremacy told them black is bad and white is good, they come over here and they see it. So I
don't think that's Canol, but I hear some of the things he says. Yes. But I don't think that's him.
And my thing is, I'm like, you can find all these black projects, but you can't find all these fucking white trailer parks that live in the fucking country. Right. Come on, man. You can't tell me you ain't see. You can't.
And
find
we're only 12% of the population. There are far more poor white people than there are poor blacks.
And I'm like, bro, you in fucking Miami. You gonna tell me you ain't found no Hispanic hoods in Miami? Get the fuck out of here.
The highest contributors to welfare are white people, not black.
You cherry picking, and that's the bullshit that's wrong. And that's what the whole FBA delineation movement is about. These motherfuckers come over here cherry picking, and the only people they want to punch down on is the only reason why, unfortunately, the only reason why his mother and them is here is because we fought to open the fucking doorway for Haitians to even be able to get through the fucking crack. It's an insult.
We're not the ones that are broke fighting to go to another country.
No.
Wealth. We might go for their culture. We might go for their feminized women and everything else, but we ain't going for their wealth. They're coming here for
or their safety or their
and
security.
Another thing.
Go ahead, Jay.
I also believe that some of these other groups who come from these impoverished countries should take the money that they're working so hard to build and invest more in their own local communities and countries. Now, I understand that it's politicians who will have to make that acceptance happen, but if enough people come around moving weight, then they can do these things. And I think that that's something that Haitians, for example, could really do. The amount of American Haitians who are here now should be putting in money trusts together and going in, and you can hire thugs. You can, if Haitian Americans took a majority of their spending or their savings and they said, look, barbecue, we gonna pay you to start a security company and protect our interests.
Well, you
now
know,
you can
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jack.
I'm gonna land it real quick.
No, go ahead.
You can take $400,000 US and then start up a private security company. Now, if barbecue don't want to work, all right, I'll pay his rival until we can get some things clear. We're gonna keep this money coming.
Well, I was gonna say this. I don't know if you guys are aware. I just saw recently where Canal is, because he's from Miami. They just arrested a fucking Haitian American millionaire that's in fucking Haiti that was responsible for contributing to some of the, because you got them here in the US contributing to the corruption in their country. They're funding some of those fucking gangs. So I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You got Haitian Americans in America that's funding gangs to continue to keep the country fucked up. And you talk about black Americans? Get the fuck out of here. That was on the news. I'm like, are you serious, bro? You don't even know your own fucking community.
Oh, man.
And that's the truth. Anybody can Google it. Look at the Haitian American that was just arrested probably 2 weeks ago for funding the fucking gangs in fucking Haiti. You know, I don't know what side. I don't know if he was on barbecue side. I don't care whose side he on. But he was, they have millionaire Haitian. They said it was the Haitian Americans that paid for the president to get killed a year or two ago. Come on. So I'm like, how dare you sit there and think that you're going to but again, they come with that fucking white supremacy mindset. White ice is colder. The white man let me in and all that bullshit. And I'm like, I don't care about how much you white worship, but don't think you're going to sit there and talk slick about us, about our people and talk about our fucked up neighborhoods, it's a fucking joke.
It's the ignorance, man. Like what really gets on my nerves is that, and the reason why it took a long time for us to really respond to some of this foolishness is because we knew it's ignorant. It's like, man, if y'all really want to know the facts, y'all could really look it up. And so it pains me to take time out of my day to try to educate somebody on something that they really should know. You know, I argue with a guy that try to tell me Black American women are more bid winchers than African women. I'm like, that's not
Bullshit.
true.
Thank you.
That's not true. Like you could visibly see that. Like you could, you know what I
Oh,
mean? If
for
you know the
sure.
black community, Black women are one of the most race loyal. He like no they're not. And he not even from here. He live in Canada. So it's like
And
I gotta take time out to argue and defend that.
no excuse. Now I know you done been over there to Africa, and so have I, right?
Mhm,
Um, or you can go to let's go local, like Thailand, for example. When
mhm,
you go to Bangkok, right?
mhm.
What will you see on Soy Cowboy, Soy 21 on the streets? Not in the bars, but just on the streets, hanging out on the side of the roads
Not in Bangkok.
in Bangkok. What
I
kind of
mean,
women, or even in Pattaya? There's African women who are there
yeah,
specifically just to hustle.
yeah. I see a lot of them.
Now,
A lot of
I've had
Africans.
some great times. I've had some great parties with Tanzanian, Kenyans, all of that stuff. That's actually how I got more introduced with African women. Is because they were in those places, and I just talked to them because they was Black too. But they have to understand that they must correct some of their own issues before interjecting in ours, and we must do the same. But there's some commonality that we can find in between these two things, and it don't always have to be conflict when we could actually be working together.
Yeah, but see, that's the whole thing, Jack. We've done that, and they've been so disingenuous when we've had. That's why we switched to be calling ourselves African Americans,
Mm-hmm.
because we used to not call ourselves that.
No.
We tried to do this whole kumbaya encompassing everybody that was from the Black diaspora, and it turned around and they fucked us.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
That's
yeah,
why,
that selfishness that they got, that tribalism that they got,
right,
we didn't
and
really
that's where the
understand it.
delineation started coming in. It's like, yo, we had open arms for you for generations, literally 30, 40 years of that shit, of allowing ourselves to be called African Americans, trying to be so inclusive for them to come in and start speaking on our issues, and even to a point where even if there was a half a chance of getting reparations, y'all niggas don't deserve that shit. You're just gonna blow it off.
You know what's crazy about it, Ronan, too, right? So like one thing, like Dan, and I'll be honest with you, like Dan in the comments, right? Brother, I'm sorry. Old Black is nowhere near on par with Port-au-Prince. See, that's the hyperbolic rhetoric that you guys need to even remote. If you think a neighborhood in Chicago is on par with Port-au-Prince, you don't know shit about Port-au-Prince.
Yeah.
You just have no idea, and it's just crazy to say something like that. But then what's even further on it, like people say, like said, how we got to the evolution of African American. They went from calling us niggas to calling us colored to calling us Negro to calling us Black to it was Negro, and then it was Afro, it was Black, it was Afro American to African American. That was the generational steps. And as Ronan said, African American was Jesse Jackson in the 80s trying to show this connection. We have always, for so many, we supported the break tearing down the apartheid movement in South Africa. That was African Americans in America that was banging the fucking drum, keeping that shit in the news until they finally tore down the apartheid in South Africa. They wasn't getting it done on their own. They didn't get it done without American involvement and our support, beating up on the American government down there. I'm in DC. They was protesting at the South African fucking embassy daily for decades until they stopped that shit. That was Black people in America that was doing this shit. So the whole concept that they have. I didn't even realize till I started following this African brother, and that I'm gonna let you jump in because I know you full of history on it. They cry about the delineation from us. I didn't realize like Nigerians are some of the most hated motherfuckers in Africa.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe this shit.
In the world, shit, not in Africa, in the world.
It was like, so I'm like, if y'all don't even fuck with each other, and I learned that from Knack a long time ago, but I didn't know how deep it was.
Yeah.
And I land my plane with that, but I'm like, y'all can miss me with all this bullshit. And they're not as well, none of the most successful Black person on the fucking planet are Black Americans. Full stop. It's not even fucking close.
Hey, salute. Can you hear me? No Excuse and co-host.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. I just want to say, man, I was going to sit in the chat and not engage, because it's a sensitive topic for us, but it was some of the stuff that's in there that's like, man, like it's just got to be addressed. But I think one of the problems that people don't understand about why Black communities, FBA communities are so downtrodden and left behind compared to other ethnic groups, communities, is unfortunately we as particularly Black men, but FBA men, we don't know how to navigate securing the funding for our communities at the federal and state level. This is why the communities are downtrodden. Like somebody made the comment about Blacks not setting up businesses in the neighborhoods and all this and that. And that's partially true, but you're not going to be able to set up a business in your neighborhood, as No Excuse stated, if there's no ownership. You have no say so. The people who own those houses in those neighborhoods, they call the shots. And if they don't live there, they don't have any interest in making the city and the state at those levels push that money to the neighborhood to revitalize it. So I'm going to push out some terminologies like CDBG, Community Development Block Grants. Like we have to be involved to go down there and let them know we're not going to tolerate y'all sending the money to other communities while they're already up. And you know that this federal money has been allocated from the state to this area. See, we gotta start playing chess and get off of this surface level thing. Yeah, we need to be business owners, but you're not gonna have no successful business or get anything done if you don't know how to navigate it at the state and local level and know how to go there and get that money and know how to go to your state representative to get it done. This is how we're being outpaced. We're being outpaced due to ignorance. My fault. Go ahead, bro.
No, good point. Let me respond to that, and I'm gonna let Max speak. He made a good point. And one thing I learned, my property taxes went up. A lot of people property taxes went up, and I know to call my local representative to get some things addressed. So I called my city hall rep, and they helped me get my property taxes back lowered, reassessed, and taken care of. And so my mortgage shot up, but now it got back down. But I know a lot of people that don't even know how to fight. Their property tax go up. They just eating it. They eating it, and they might not even have to. They might not shouldn't even be paying that, and they could be forced to sell, or they could get behind their mortgage and foreclose. Like that's serious. You know what I mean? Not knowing how to utilize your local politicians. So I just wanted to respond to that. But you can go ahead, Nat.
Yes, sir. And it's kind of crazy because, as most of the people on the panel said, we didn't know that we were kind of alone without solidarity with people that we loved. You know what I'm saying? And we still love them. I just look at it as a big family fight right now. Like, sometimes we don't get along with our cousins and shit like that. But I'm sorry, and stuff like that. But every family has issues, and I think that's the state that we're at now. But we didn't know that there was this. We didn't start the delineation. So when you look at other ethnic groups coming to America and outpacing us, we have to look at, due to the fact that we didn't know that this is how it was going down. Someone mentioned it earlier. I think it was No Excuse, and maybe Ronin Travels too. I think both of y'all mentioned it. We didn't know that most of those phenotypically black politicians wasn't FBA. So when you have that going on, where people are representing their district in which you live, they look like you, but you don't know that they're not culturally you and not ethnically you, so to speak. They're going to be pushing agendas for their own communities and for their own people.
Exactly.
This is diabolical and dire. You know, I'm gonna be long-winded on this, so I'm gonna just fall back and, you know, let y'all jump in, because I could go on about this forever, man. So I'll fall back and let the panel get some space.
Let's get Nak in. Since he just joined the panel. If you're speaking, Nak, we can't hear you.
That,
We can't hear you if you're there.
yeah. Bounce out, bounce back in.
Yeah, he got to unmute his mic. It looks like he's muted.
Now he unmuted. Yeah, we still can't hear you, bro.
And while we're waiting for him, I want to commend the last gentleman who just spoke, because understanding how the actual government, local government, city council, and all those things work should be taught. Like, I really think that there should be like an African history channel, just like there used to be the History Channel in general. That should be something that we should fund, because we have to do more research and look into how things actually work. Do-it-yourself videos, DIY, you know, understanding how to apply what little power we may have, and then amplify it. That is truly the most important. And if we seek to delineate ourselves from these groups, not so much in we're not messing with them, but we need to understand how they move, how they learned what they learned, and then we need to apply it for ourselves, because our population as African Americans is still growing, and it's a generational education thing that we have to implement. Now, I'm from Los Angeles. I have met Maxine Waters when I was a child, right? She used to come to an African Saturday school that I was involved in. So I got to shake her hand on multiple occasions. Now, Maxine Waters may not have all the information and everything, but we need to start looking at who we're putting in place, making sure that they're properly vetted, and then implementing some things for our general region in which we do control population. That's the first thing that we have to do.
Well, can I add one thing? I want to say, Heartthrob, I think that was a great background you gave, and especially in particular about, you know, which I didn't know. I'm an old man like Ronan. I didn't know, like, a lot of these, even some of the historical figures in the past were not FBA. But I will also say, back there during the 60s and 70s, I don't think anyone cared, because whether you were FBA or immigrant in America, we were all dumped into one pot as a nigga. And that was why I think why as FBA, we were always so open and welcoming, especially to Black immigrants, because we knew no matter what you thought you were, when you landed on the shores of America, we knew how your ass was going to be treated. We knew that. You could come over there with that, I'm Haitian, I'm Caribbean, I'm Kenyan, all the hell you want. When you landed in America during the 50s and 60s, your ass was Black, nothing else. No one cared. So we knew and understood that. So that is what I think, you know, why it was unimaginable to us that we would think that a Black person would come into America and in short order ever think they were anything other than. So, like, I didn't even realize, like, Shirley Chisholm had a Caribbean background, and Stokely Carmichael, because they never presented that. They always presented as Black, just like everybody else. because they had the same shared struggle. They had the same problem. And let's be honest, they only came into prominence with the help and support of Black people. Because Stokely Carmichael wouldn't have been shit if it wasn't for Black people. Neither would have Shirley Chisholm. So she didn't become, I think she had a Caribbean background. It wasn't Caribbeans in America that elevated her or lifted her. It was Black people. So why would you sit there and think, even if you want to say, oh, well, a Caribbean helped the Black movement, so why the fuck are y'all being so disrespectful to us? Because I would like to think Shirley Chisholm or Stokely and all these people would be against the very thing that we're calling out. I have no problem with any Black immigrants, but the level of disrespect that's been projected towards FBA, and I can tell you as a 61-year-old Black man, I've seen it my whole life. I always just dismissed it because, like someone said earlier, they were small, I didn't care, whatever. But as of recent, I'm like, these motherfuckers need to be checked because they're crazy. They have really gotten out, as we say here in the DMV, they gotten out of fucking pocket now. So I'm glad to see the young folks doing it. I'm happy, and that's why I'm rocking with it. I'm riding with it. I'm supporting it. I funded the best I can because we gave these motherfuckers a pass because I just didn't think coming up this shit would ever happen. Living to see it, check these motherfuckers, and I stand 10 toes down with the FBA community, not to attack them, but to say, you're going to put some motherfucking respect on our name. This is bullshit.
And we also, as a community of African Americans, we have to understand this, right? Our immigration process into the United States came through the hardest, most tragic, most painful way for us to become citizens. We became citizens here from being traded from the west coasts of Africa, wherever different regions you came from. You might have been a Cameroonian, a Sierra Leonean, whatever, we started off from all these various regions, and then we came here and we had to survive. Literally getting off of the ship, you only had a couple of years to even survive here in the Americas under the situation that we came to America. So we have worked the hardest of all other groups in order to have citizenship in this nation. No one can compare to us. Everyone else, it has been the road has been paved for you to do what you do individually for your family, because African Americans have gone through slavery, war, sickness, discrimination, outright murder. Give us our respect for that, and then we can build on something. But you have to understand and know history. So many people don't. They don't have time to look it up. But you have to understand, in order to get our citizenship for just regular Black people from Africa or the Caribbean to even come in this country, literally gave our blood and our flesh. Just give us our respect on that, and then we can continue to move forward as we need to anyway.
Yeah, facts, man. And to Big Mike in the chat, yo, I'm definitely from Northeast Ohio, from the Shaker Heights. But and tagging on to what the last speaker was just saying, this it also brings in the whole thing of the reparations thing. And I know we're talking about why do FBAs kind of touch down so much on the immigrant policies now. Traditionally we weren't really concerned with it like that. Like I said, we didn't get involved with it like that until we figured out and saw that, okay, so this is why our communities is failing. Oh, so this is why my grandmama and uncles and them had to work so hard. Like we couldn't figure it out. And, being the greatest story and the most tragic story ever told from a group of people, phenotypically, we all look the same. But for there to be that much variance as to how we accept each other, I'm telling you, like, it was heartbreaking to me, man. Like, I still don't really know how I quite feel about it. Like, what I do know is that, like Unc said, we not going for that disrespect no more like that, man. Because we wasn't set out to disrespect nobody. We thought that it took solidarity amongst us, and to be at this state with it, from musicians and rap artists talking crazy about what we didn't contribute and what we haven't done, and people talking about, why didn't y'all get reparations long ago? You should have got it then. And nobody's understanding that it was against the law to even know how to read and write. You wasn't going to court fighting for no reparations. It would get thrown out. Like, it's crazy, like the cognitive, disability of people to understand these dynamics. Like, American Black people have been faced with the situation that, I'm not saying the rest of people in the world ain't gone through no terrible stuff, because they definitely went through it in South Africa and that whole deal. We acknowledge that. But this thing is different. This is different here.
We go through so many periods of sabotage. When we were promised, told 40 acres and a mule, I forgot the person who came up with that proposal, but Abraham Lincoln get assassinated. That definitely has an effect on a lot of things. MLK assassination really prompted us to get the civil rights bill passed. Black Wall Street got sabotaged. There's countless stories of Black people being swindled out of land in the South. Title mix-ups. A lot of things we lost due to probate court, because we didn't know how to create wills or accurately make sure that our property was passed down, to our descendants. So we've dealt with so much sabotage that this held us back for so long. And to the brother's point, we have to take all that on our chin and still keep our head up and keep moving. And then we got to deal with infighting with our distant cousins at the same time. We already got Uncle Toms and Coons in the FBA community we got to deal with. So it's so much weight. There's so much weight on the Black community, and it's hard to grasp at times. It's hard to cope sometimes. That's why we got a lot of trauma and depression in a lot of ways, and we got a lot of historical, ancestral trauma, we're dealing with, and it's sad that we have to educate people that's not aware of those things, but we deal with a lot. I'm gonna land on that.
Let me ask you this question though, No Excuse. So, like, even in particular, right? Because again, this was about, like, if we're talking about the diaspora, right? So you could look at, and I would sit there and say, it's not lost on me. They try to frame everything against, like, and especially when they started this ignorant ass Black Americans don't have any culture bullshit, even though we are the most copied culture in the world, right? Even among white people, right? But then I'm sitting there like, they'll make these concepts, and I'm like, okay, but I know countries where you guys come from. So as I spoke about Nigeria, do you know how limiting a Nigerian passport is? Not only do we don't want them, nobody fucking wants them. Same thing goes for Haiti. Same thing. So these so-called cultural juggernauts, these lands of all these brilliant, hardworking, smart people, take America out of it. You're not welcome no fucking where. Most places. So I sat there and I remember I was telling my wife, I said, it's crazy. I can't stand Donald Trump. But the one thing I readily will say on immigration, that motherfucker knocked it out the park. He shut the border down. And what he's done with immigration, he ain't made one new fucking immigration law. These laws have always been on the book. He simply said, I'm going to fucking enforce it. All the barbaric looking shit that we see on the news, that's always been American law. And what they fail to realize is we fought to keep them from doing it to y'all Black asses, to open the door, because we said it was too much What Black Americans said, we looked at Ellis Island and we saw all them ships coming from Europe, bringing all them fucking white people. And we fought for Hispanics and Black people to be allowed in, because prior to that, there was a fucking quota. There was a set number of Black people that they would let into America. And it was so small, it was ridiculous. We fought for increases. We fought for increases to Hispanic people. And like the Hart, we get fucked every time. We get sabotaged from within and without. And we're sick and tired of it. It's just that simple.
Oh, facts, man. It's deep. You know, earlier I was on a panel with like some Nigerians and South Africans. And what's ironic about our relationships with those countries is that genetically, for the most part, you know, what I mean, we're more genetically closer to Nigerians, a lot of us in the FBA community, and we're not with genetically close to South Africans, but culturally, you know, we have similar struggles. So it's it's almost like, you know, it was a question came with it almost was like if the South Africans were the largest African group, would they be more of writers with us, you know, opposed to the larger African communities, which are West African United States? You know, that was a topic of discussion too, you know.
I would have to say yes, because I think that their struggle probably more closely aligned, being that South, you know, what's different about West Africa? I don't think they had so much of a caste system. It was white superior, everybody else is Black. But South Africa, with the influx of not only Africans and white people, but then they had an influx of Indians and so many other people. Now, the rest of Africa is starting to experience that now, but they didn't experience it as bad as back then. So I think you're absolutely right, No Excuses, that culturally they share a more similar experience, though they didn't go through chattel slavery. Portions of it, I would say, even though my lineage goes all the way back to Nigeria, I don't see nothing about no fucking kinship with them, but I do see it more with South Africans because of their shared experience.
Yeah, culturally too, you'll never hear South Africans say we ain't got no culture, because they're the only African country. Well, they're the African country that embraces our culture the most, whether it's music, whether it's fashion, trends, hairstyle, like, and they don't, you know, they don't hide their admiration for us. You know what I mean? You'll hear soul music, you'll hear music from the 70s in South Africa, and they know the words, and you know, so there's a big admiration for our culture, and they give us, you know, they give us our props. You know, they have they're prideful too, but it's kind of sad that we don't get that love. We don't get the love South Africans or admiration South Africans have for us. We don't get that from West Africans, which is mind-boggling. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know why it's mind-boggling when they're the ones that diabolically sold us into slavery.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo. And
I don't think that's a big shock. I think that's par for the course.
That's a good point. We need to expound on that.
Yeah, because now, you know, my viewpoint may be a little more what's the word I'm looking for? Controversial, because I believe that a lot of American Blacks were already in the Americas, North, Central, and South America, as a autochthonous group of people, and then we had our ethnogenesis when some of the imported Africans came over, and then they became us as well. So they're still us if they were here at a certain time frame. So they're still we're all still one, but I'm more of that a lot of us were already here. But you know, regardless, to the point that you said we need to expound on, yeah, like Unc said, it ain't no surprise, because they were the ones that sold our ancestors from there here. They sold them here, and it's showing up and their present day behaviors and attitude towards us. This is spiritual. It ain't went nowhere.
That's true. And that's deep, man. That's them spirits, man. I mean, I'm not a person that really dwell into like, spiritual, spirits, but I do, I do believe a certain aspect of it. I do believe that, those ancestral spirits, go from generation to generation. And you can feel it. You can feel it. You know what I mean? Like I really don't want to repeat what somebody said, but I remember seeing a comment. Somebody said, we should have finished the job.
Crazy. That's crazy.
No excuse. Let me ask you a question, because you've been to South Africa, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I ask is because I know they have a large population of what they call colors, right?
Ooh.
In South Africa.
Yeah.
So they call them color. And to me, it just seemed like colored is just mixed race, black and white people, half white, half black, or whatever. But it's like there's a distinct community. And that, in my mind, it's just like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, okay, some of them look like they're passing, some can't be passing. But even though they're colored, they're called colored, they have a slightly higher status than the blacks. But then they're still lower than the whites.
Well, remember they did the same thing to us here too with color,
right?
Like where we have that vast,
and most of us would be considered colored in South Africa because we have 20 or 40% European DNA, just like those coloreds in Namibia and South Africa. But the thing is that here in the United States, under the British, if you were black, you were black. Even if your daddy was a white slave owner, he would still put his own children, his own spawn, back into slavery.
Yeah, that's why I said, to me, when I hear about like the color, I was watching some videos and I was like, a lot of their shit is similar to us. I don't think they're not equal, but that's why I definitely agree with you that it resonates that culturally what they experience is similar. That even after the end of apartheid, colors are still treated as like better blacks. They don't, and it's weird because they don't even want to be seen as black because they're in that mindset of proximity to whiteness gives me better treatment, but I know I'm still not fucking white because the white people gonna make sure, because they have still segregated neighborhoods, right?
And South Africa got their own version of Malcolm X too, which I haven't really seen in Africa, like a civil, like Julius Malema. If people don't know about him, sound just like Malcolm X in his speeches, and we relate to that. I don't know where Nagmeezy went, but if you're still out there, bro, try to come back. But we was on a stream with Nagmeezy and another guy, and Ronan, and
Homies Hub. That's the
Homies
one.
Hub.
Yeah, I have a couple of his clips. I clipped up a lot of stuff, but you can't play it on your phone.
Something. He mentioned something about Nak. He was like, "Man, Nak, you one of the few people that really know a lot about like Nigeria and West Africa." And when I heard that, I was like, you know what? That's actually sad. It's sad because it's more brothers that can give you the ins and out on East Africa, South. I could break down South Africa just like Nat could break down Nigeria. I could break down Kenya. And so it's kind of sad in a way that brothers, most black men understand or more aware of Southern Africa or Eastern African culture than even West African culture, and I think y'all kind of touched on that with just the spirit, the spiritual thing, it's just them spirits keeping us away from West Africa, a lot of us from West Africa, man.
No, real talk, man. Like, man, I don't know if y'all experience this, but me growing up, I would always look at situations that there would be like certain things that would happen amongst what I thought at the time was just all one cohesive Black community. But I would see certain people getting I don't want to say privileged, but it seemed like their situations were a lot easier. And I never could figure it out, but I did know that a lot of these people, you know, like when holidays came around, you know, we talked about what our families cooked and stuff, and they never cooked the same thing. And a lot of them didn't even like the soul food and stuff that we ate. And a lot of them didn't have family that was from the South, you know, being from up Northeast. And I couldn't put it together then, but now, you know what I'm saying? Like it all makes sense now, man. I remember like going to some of the guys that I was friends with, going over their house, and their parents never spoke. They weren't mean or nothing. They just never spoke. And now I know what it was about. I know what it was about now. And to me, that's diabolical.
What do you think it was about so that everybody else is on the same page as you?
I think that they were first generation immigrants, the people I was friends with. I think the parents were immigrant.
Okay.
Because they also had the job. Like I did a deep dive on it. Like all of the car manufacturing and steel mills and stuff, they're on record for hiring Caribbean immigrants to come in as the workforce. So when we went up north, when our families left down south to go up north to get the jobs, we went up there because we heard Black people were getting hired there, but they didn't know that they were hiring immigrants. This is on paper. This is factual in all of them northeastern cities and states.
You know, one of the things I've also find troubling, especially when they consistently try to make this comparison of I'm from country A, I'm from country B, we're better than FBAs. They always couch it in this thing like, first of all, again, you can't tell me that immigrants don't have this white worship about white people, because ultimately when they're in their country, they generally all believe America is a white country. You can go to country A, B, C, D, or E. If you say America, they're going to tell you it's a white country. Okay. They're all willing to put their lives on the fucking line to get to said white country. They don't think of America as a multiracial country or a Black country or Hispanic. It's America, the greatest country in the world, is a white country, and they all worship this shit, right? So then, you know, for them to sit there and say, okay, Black people who are 13% of the population don't dominate anything, and you've already said it's a white country, so why the fuck should we dominate anything? You've already in your belief structure believe it's a white country, but yet they can come from a country that's damn near 100% Black and control less than 50% of the fucking revenue and resources in said country. Pick any country in Africa or the Caribbean that's predominantly not dominated by a white multinational company outside said fucking country. Haitians don't run shit in Haiti. Motherfuckers, Jamaicans don't run shit in Jamaica. Trinidad, all of those countries, multinational corporations who will formerly colonize these motherfuckers, when they left, they still run shit. They still do. So how dare you tell me why my 13% don't run nothing in a white country that you said is white, when your Black ass don't run nothing in a country that we all know is 100% Black? I watch these countries. I watched a Haitian girl say, "Oh, America, you fall out. We started in 1804 when we got our liberation." I'm like, you got your liberation in 1804, and you spent the next 150 years paying a motherfucker. Exactly. So how are you free if you have to spend the next 150 years to pay for your freedom?
That's like paying a ransom note at that point.
And you won the fight. What kind of sense is that? But you know why you did it? Because you were definitely afraid when Napoleon and his fucking navy was sitting off the coast of Haiti, they was going to come back there and re-enslave your ass. Don't play with it like, you know what I'm saying? That my only issue is I can empathize and sympathize with the Haitian struggle. But don't you dare sit in my fucking face and think you're going to place yourself in a place of superiority when we didn't get to leave. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. Okay, Haiti got free in 1804. They finished paying off their shit 30, 40 years ago. And it's still a goddamn failed state. Haiti is a fucking failed state. What are you talking about? It's a fucking failed state. It doesn't even have a government. It doesn't have a fucking president. What the fuck? Everybody's running Haiti but fucking Haitians. Fact. Same thing goes for Jamaica. Same thing goes for half of fucking the continent of Africa. These motherfuckers say they got their independence. How independent are you? Your shit is still being run by European corporations. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, like
you claim about your resources that you don't have the ability to get out of the fucking ground. The fuck out of here.
And I already corrected why we go to these other cultures. It's not because we're broke. It's not anything beside for those cultures are still raising women that are feminized. Those cultures are still raising women with certain morals that we still want, while the Western mentality has infiltrated not only our culture, but our women. So the only reason we're going over there either to start businesses or to marry your women, you're absolutely right.
And what's wrong with that? But Ronan, every fucking black American that goes to any country overseas does 100 times better than any of the fucking locals there. But you don't see us shitting on Jamaicans or Haitians or fucking Nigerians or motherfucker. We don't need to do that. I don't need to go to fucking Nigeria and flex on a fucking dirt poor ass fucking Nigerian. Why do I need to do that? But I know that the minute I get off the plane, I'm in the fucking top 1% or I'm in the top 10%. The fuck?
But see,
they're not in the top 10% when they come to the US. We are in the top 10% when we get off the fucking plane.
And that's what's the problem. Like people won't admit it, but that's why they dislike us the way that they do. They feel like we had it easy over here, like we got it easy. And they think that when we come over there with, the type of money that they look at us as being rich. So they think that we're complainers when we're sitting in a country that the streets is paved with gold. They don't understand what's really going on. That's what a lot of the dissident and everything is about.
Right.
So Ron, while he down there crying in the fucking goddamn chat, he need to come up here and explain to me why Haiti just finished paying for their freedom.
It's no big
okay, that's no big deal. But the fact of the matter is, this is a fact. We can look up Haiti got military, not even gonna say military. They just beat up fucking Napoleon when he was broke in 1804. But just 40 years ago, finished paying the same country that they got freedom from. Well, what the fuck I look like knocking you out? Here's a prize fight, Ronan. Me and you in a prize fight. It's $10 million. I knocked you out, and I got to give you the $10 million.
You still got to pay me because I'm
fuck out of here.
I mean, in hindsight, Haiti would, there's things Haiti could have did in hindsight. You know what I mean? Like,
but don't be beating your chest, bro. You can't be beating your chest when you know after you got freedom, you paid for the next 150 years, and they fucked you 7 ways to Sunday. That's a fact.
Let me get Nack in, but I got a question after Nack finish. I got a question. Let me get Nack in.
Yo, can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, brother.
Oh wow, man, that's awesome. Yeah, I had old man problems with my mic. I don't know what was going on. But salute to the whole panel. Salute to Uncle Rico, man. I be trying to tell these chest beating Haitians that, if it wasn't for the mulatto class that was between the blacks and the whites who negotiated a peace deal on behalf of the black Haitians to keep France off their ass. And part of that negotiation was that they would have to pay reparations to France. It ain't really a win. You know what I'm saying? So when they talk about our communities versus your country, they're the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. And I sympathize and empathize with them. But when they come amongst us talking that hot shit, then they got to get checked because that 1804 done went to their heads. But I wanted to talk about delineation and how Black Americans weren't the first. We were pretty much anti-delineation, singing "Kumbaya," yeah, come, we all Black type of shit, right? But when I think it was maybe this weekend or something, we had a live stream with Homies Hub. I
Right.
knew the difference between Yoruba and the Edo people, right? But soon as and I did it on purpose, right? He made a very clear distinction between the two. What he did is delineate, and he wasn't upset, but he knew where I was coming from. He was like, "Nah, I'm Edo. I'm not Yoruba." And the issue with those people is almost like the chicken or the egg culturally. Which came first, the Edo or the Yoruba? Right? They have different languages, but share certain aspects of their culture. Even them being proximate with the other culture, they still delineate. I think it's embedded in Black people to delineate, and actually that's a human thing. So when we do it, it's all of a sudden a problem. It wouldn't have been a problem if they didn't come amongst us, kowtowing to white supremacy and kissing white people's ass and trying to shit on us in the process. What this boils down to is global jealousy of foundational Black Americans.
And before we forget this point, let me just, you came up with a real good point. Now, me, when I came and I traveled, I was amongst the Igbo, the Yoruba, the Hausas in Asia, right? Now, all these different groups are there in Asia to make money. And they have all in Nigeria that have conflicts. But if we were to look at history, they all are related, distant cousins, right? You bring up Benin or Edo and the Yoruba. Their gods, basically, Oyo, those empires, they're shared communities, but they branched off over hundreds of thousands of years. And now they have these different ruling kingdoms, and there's conflict between them over the lands. But if you go back to the histories of both Ila-Ife and also Edo, which is the city of Benin and the kingdom of Benin, by the way, they had one of the most hands in the Nigerian slave trade, and they're a reason why some of our ancestors have even arrived into South America and the Americas in general. These people have made it about fighting with their own cousins, distant cousins. All humans are all related, but they've made it into a thing to where, oh no, I am from Oyo and you are from Benin, and this is why we must conflict, even though technically we all came into the land of Nigeria, what is called Nigeria, at the same point in time. Delineation is something that they do there that we have forgotten. Now, all African Americans, we may have came from different regions of Africa, and then once we got here on the soil, we had to work in different farms, right? Now, the majority of people who actually survived from getting off of that ship to being forced to work on the land, majority was Nigerians. But you also have people from Sierra Leone, from Senegal, from Mali, from all these different places, right? That had to be crushed and blended into one flavor, which is African American. We've had to forget a lot of that tribalism in order to be where we are. But if you do your DNA, you'll have spots of all these different people mixed in. That's because they didn't have a fucking choice when they were in America trying to survive. They had to mate with who they could mate with. It was controlled, and people need to understand that. We don't have those same hangups that you were warring over back in the 1700s in order to get a little piece of the pie. We are the descendants of all these different groups. So for you to come here in America and say to us, oh, we don't like you because you're blah, 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 you're African American, and I am from Ila-Ife. I am a Yoruba man. Shit, motherfucker, we Yorubas too. We're all those different groups blended in as one. And that goes for all Africans in the Americas, in the diaspora. We're all blended in and mixed into one group. And that's why we have a more educated understanding that we are all one people. That's why we believe in supporting the diaspora. I would love for someone from these original cultures, let's say from a Yoruba person or a Hausa person or maybe an Angolan person, to come in and speak on behalf of their people to explain why they have so much tribalism and why they think that once you arrive here in America, it's an important thing.
Brother, the way you broke that down was perfect. I like that you added, that the Edo people specifically were, dealing in slaves. That was something that Homies Hub didn't really want to admit, but he knew what I was talking about. So obviously, you know your thing about the history of Africa. I grew up studying the history of Africa, and it's not only West Africa; it's West, North, the Sahel, South, and Central Africa. I could freestyle all of it. Even coming from that standpoint, at this point, enough is enough. Or our peace branch has been snatched from us and turned into a whipping stick by a lot of continentals who are no longer in Africa. They're living amongst us in America. But I'm going to tell you this, prior to the internet, and even still now, Africans on the continent largely have bigger issues than this diaspora war. But since we're in it, I'm not using any kumbaya type of language, because that has to be settled once we fire back at these barbs that they keep shooting at us, trying to separate us from culture, trying to make fun and light of what our ancestors have gone through in America. So if they're going to be greasy like that, then for me it's no holds barred now. So I'll use their history and the truth about their history to let them know about themselves. Oh, and shout out to BMT, the only Haitian in history that grew up eating goddamn conch fritters in
Jesus Christ, bro.
Hey, Nat, do you think Black Americans and West Africans specifically can ever get to a
Nope.
harmonize due to a lot of I feel like there's some spiritual things going, that deep rooted tribalism, you know to them their ancestors defeated, quote unquote, our ancestors, that tribe, the tribe of our ancestors, so to speak. Do you think it's just too deep rooted, or do you think we can, you know, generate some type of harmony at some point?
We just lost
We're going to
Nate.
join by force.
Yeah, we lost next somehow. Maybe. Okay.
Now, okay, here's a crazy sci-fi topic for you. What if, okay, so we're aware of like what Israel is doing right now, for example. Now, I don't
Right.
want to get too much on it. I don't want to talk to them. But Europeans made a way for them to come into the land on which they now call Israel, and for them to colonize that region and make it their own, right?
All right.
What if African Americans were to take all their resources and power, buy weapons, and do all that stuff and go back to West Africa?
Say that one more time. I missed that last part.
So what if we copied the same strategy that was implied after World War II to go back into West Africa in the same manner in which European Jews were able to go back to their so-called homeland? And
Yeah, but see, the truth of it, Jack, and you know this if you know the history, that wasn't their homeland. That land was parceled out because they were having a problem with the Palestinians between England and Americans. They were having problems with the Palestinians in that area. So they made them give up some land in order to enable the European Jews
But
to
listen
move.
to his underlining point is, if a group of people believe that, you know, they stake claim to this ancestral homeland, should we be, you know, motivated hypothetically to go to, let's just say, Nigeria and say, you know what, we want to take back what y'all took from our ancestors.
No, because if you realize, like I said, England and America were the enforcers of them giving up that land. We don't have an enforcing power behind us to go impart our will into any other country. We don't
Well,
have our own.
technically, we do.
Who?
You know how many African Americans serve in all the branches of the United States of America?
Yeah, but you have to unite them all into that one grandiose idea,
Money.
and that's going to be difficult.
You know, I don't want to speak too much on spooky talk, but I'm just saying you could take all of those people who have that education and then train up the rest of the populace, just like how it was done in Israel, and pick a point and just go there and start to do things. It's been done. We're seeing it done right now in modern history.
Yeah, I get what you, as a American culture, it's not our practice. I mean, you got Russia trying to reclaim, you know, the USSR slowly. So, you know, hypothetically, America could say, you know what, we want to do something for our black population. We need to take we need to go take, you know, some land in Africa
And we would then share the proceeds.
Yeah, I mean,
American.
to do it. You know, to his point, we got the military power to do something like that.
we
You
could.
know,
We have enough trained brothers, but the whole thing is, like I said, some of these nations are so corruptible or corrupted already. They'll use the angle of letting you build up the resources and the infrastructure, and they'll take it all back from you. They'll give you just enough room to get you established, but they're still in a backhanded way thinking of how they can just screw you out of it.
Right. But if we're taking the game plan of, let's say, Israel, for example, when they arrived after World War II, they fought their various wars with the surrounding countries or tribes or whatever, and they were able to establish a state only controlled by them. If you want to come and join that state, you can do so by marriage.
Play Dog is on it today.
the problem I have with even, and this is my personal sentiments. The issue I have with wanting to do with anything with Africa is that, for me, the land is undesirable. I mean, yes, there's minerals, but West Africa is the hottest region of Africa. It's hot as hell. I would rather go, go somewhere and eat.
I don't know if that's me or his network that's breaking up.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you're dropping out a little bit. No excuse.
Yeah, you dropped up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't have any interest. I don't have any interest in West Africa for a lot of reasons. So it wouldn't even be a thought. Even citizenship wouldn't entice me. You know, it's hot as hell. It's underdeveloped. You know, it's nothing is really attractive for me to even want to live there.
Like I
Have
said, they'll
land.
give you enough room to develop the infrastructure, get everything going. And then there'll be another excuse why you can't push forward without them taking over or having a larger stake in whatever your investment was.
Well,
it's built into us.
my whole
It's ingrained in that culture for some reason to want to take and not build
But
themselves.
see,
If you
I
had to
think you
drive to
guys
build,
don't
then they would
understand
have built
exactly
it
what I
already.
mean.
But here's the thing: if you had to drive to build, you already done it. If you had to drive
But
to
no,
revolt,
what I'm saying is,
you've already done it. They have these backhanded ways in Africa where they're waiting on something to happen, but they're not going
but guys,
to do it
what I'm trying
themselves.
to get at, if
You know
we
what
just take
I'm saying? I mean,
American
the only
firepower
I've
back,
seen of anybody doing this is Burkina Faso. That's the only culture right now that I see in Africa that has enough guts and enough push to say, I'm going to fucking make a conscious effort to change the insanity that we've been going through all this time. Burkina Faso.
but guys, what I'm saying, if we were to just take American manpower, military manpower, the planes, the tanks, the weaponry, and go back in the same manner that Europeans were able to provide all those surpluses of goods to Jews who left Europe, to go back onto that small piece of land that they now control and that they've been controlling and maintaining. You're saying that we couldn't do the same thing in West Africa?
No, I'm saying everything is possible, even hypothetically, it's possible. But just like Dre 225 said, nobody wants to go back to Africa and have to do all that. I said this the other day on the panel with Homies Hub. Stop getting us so hyped up to want to go and fix your country. Start the effort yourself. Go fix your country. Get all the corrupt government out of there. The ones that take the handouts and turn a blind eye to the poverty in there, and they don't proliferate that wealth into their people. Get all those guys out of there and fix your culture. And then maybe we'll come over there and start rebuilding your infrastructure and assisting in businesses and everything else. But until you can do that, no matter how much work we do as individuals or as a larger group, you still have the corruptible government that overall kick you out.
Now, someone said in the chat that Black Americans don't have a military. No, we don't have a military, but we could literally sell, if we chose to, all the things that we do own, such as houses, land, infrastructure, cars, and all these other things that we have savings, and strictly put it into buying military resources and go set up shop somewhere.
We could, but like I said, they got to make the first step. And like I said, the only country I've seen in Africa that made that first step was Burkina Faso. They kicked all the external ruling factors out of their country, including France, and said, fuck you. We're taking
Jews
everything.
Didn't have nothing when they came out of those death camps.
But the Jews had England and the United States push Gazans out of their Palestinian right. They had the Palestinians pushed out and given their land so that those German Jews can exist.
Yes,
they had help.
That's what I'm saying. They had help. We would get help too.
From who?
You think that there's some interest that the American government already don't want to claim in those same regions? If we were to go on that route, we would receive assistance from American corporations and also the United States government.
Trust me, it's white people on the right. You know, they would align with us if they see a mutual benefit. Yeah,
if they're gonna get something out the cut, they'll say, "All right, fuck it, yeah, let's do it."
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing: they're doing that right now with turning black people against black people. Of course, they don't mind a whole bunch of black people warring against other black people in order to take over a country. Why not? You're getting rid of the opposition. Let's look at it that way.
Rid of the opposition. But also, they have blood ties with us as well.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know too many brothers that are willing to want to go and fight to take over a whole nother country at this point. You would have to unify a whole bunch of younger brothers that want to go over to do that. The older ones are tired. I'm speaking for myself at this point. I'm tired, bro. All I can do is.
How many of us are traveling the world right now? I'm just saying.
I mean, if you look at 12% of the population of the United States are black, and then you're looking at maybe 2% of those being black and having passports, or maybe even less than that, not that many. Mm-hmm. We're just making a big noise on YouTube.
Well, the craziest thing is that Generally, it's a big noise that gets everyone else to hear what's going down. And if we can offer tangibles to them, it may
Yeah,
not
but
be
I
hypothetically
hear,
too hard to do.
I hear the pie in the sky, and I hear it. I love it. But the whole thing is, if you have Africans and other
And don't get me wrong, I'm
Nigerians,
not saying we should.
listen. If you hear all these other countries that are coming over here to benefit from the United States country, the United States dollar, the United States education, you hear all of them coming over here, and once they get that, they don't even go back to their countries to do it. Why would we as Black Americans, FBAs, want to go and do it for them when they won't even see it in themselves to go back and fix their own nation?
Because specifically African Americans have had to fight in every war that America has participated.
Yeah, we have to stand 10
Just because
toes
brothers
down.
ain't doing it. Exactly. So we are a little bit more inclined to go out there and get it from the mud. For real, for real.
But we don't really have
We
to
have to
do
fight
that, to
through.
be honest with you. We don't have
We
to
don't
go
have to. That's what I'm saying. We don't have to. But since we're doing these diaspora wars, these delineations, let's just look at it a little bit more forwardly. It would not be something too hard for all of us to do. Just like everybody want to be a basketball player, everybody want to be a football player. If you took all those,
Yeah, he right about that.
let's say the population of the
They're not going to do it. I know
NFL.
it, but they're not going to do it.
Can
Unfortunately,
we be real here? All this shit does not matter outside of YouTube. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm here in Atlanta. There's a lot of Black folks from African, Caribbean, and African Americans. There's no one beefing at each other. There's no one having these groups, live groups in person. This is all YouTube bullshit. Social media.
Mm-hmm.
Right
you're
now,
right.
People are trying to survive. People getting laid off from their government jobs, their private jobs, AI replacing people. There's so much other shit people worrying about. No one's not trying to go to another country, try to take over it so they can take their resources. So let's just keep it a buck here and be honest with ourselves. All this back and forth is YouTube bullshit. That's all it is.
Yeah. You're right.
We could even give a cut to some of the various Caribbean islands. They can join up with us. They can use their population and go and claim in West Africa what they want.
And again,
I'm gonna tell you this: no Caribbean person is taking their asses to Africa. I'm being honest.
Exactly. They're not going to do it.
We will rather go back to our home islands before we step foot.
And that's my very point. If you wanted something fixed and you came from that culture, once you got to a point where you could affect change, you would have already done it yourself. But here we are thinking in our American mindset, we can go to somebody else's culture and fix their shit for them when their own people don't see it and they grew up in it.
We are not saying I personally am not saying anything about fixing. I'm saying taking over.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
Worse.
Let me tell you this: they'll shoot you down as soon as you get off that plane before they let you do that.
Not if I come with F-22s.
No. Okay. Wow. Okay. First of all, wake up from this dream that you're having right now, and understand that you don't have access to those resources. So therefore, that would never ever gonna happen.
As a group, we can purchase those resources.
No. As a group, we're gonna buy a Lexus. We're gonna buy a Range Rover. We're gonna buy some Jordan. That's what we're gonna do.
That's what you want us to do. But if we all just said, "Hey, we're just gonna buy military equipment,"
that's what's gonna happen because I'm thinking like the typical American person. Typical American person to give 1 fuck about Africa. I'm being honest with you.
Don't y'all notice how fucked up America has been, even as a colonizer? Like, Nigeria colonized by the United States, right? You got Kenya and South Africa colonized by the British. The they've taken more of what the white man brought from. You see more development in Kenya and South Africa due to, what the white man contributed, but the United States, the countries of the United States, colonized or partially colonized, they didn't teach them shit.
So the United States, look at the French. Look at all the French. Wait, hold up. Look at the French colonized countries. They're just like Haiti.
Yeah.
Just
Look,
like Haiti.
like I said, hit the last comment, the T-Max. Thank you. I won't lie. I have a small engineering business, and I work on development of African villages. There is a lot of potential in Africa, but too much darn corruption. Exactly what I said. Until you can get the governmental politicians to not be so, and somebody said, unfortunately, Jack, put that pipe down, bro.
I mean, one thing is too, guys. Look at the elite in these countries. The elite citizens of these countries do not give a fuck. What makes you think that the rest of the people will care?
They don't. There's a small percentage of us that are even discussing this, like Black Man Travel says, as YouTube content more so than anything else, because nothing is really affecting anything of what we're talking about on a larger
both in the African American community as well as in the Caribbean community. My ex-wife is African American, Mississippi, born and raised. Look, I've been on both sides. We ain't talking about what Africans are doing, what Caribbeans are doing, what this. None of that's happening. We're not having this conversation right now.
I think Fearless even said he was in somewhere in Bogota and he ran into a whole bunch of brothers that were either in Bogota or Black Colombians, and they don't even know about a passport, bro.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know about passport, bro. I'd be like, what's that?
Right. And these are Black people.
That's
so
why
it's
I be
not
trying to tell these other channels, stop talking so much about these things and just live your life.
It's so amplified online, and we're in our own echo chambers. I mean, obviously, the YouTube algorithm has us all in a chokehold. We're only seeing the same information that we're viewing or we're making. We're not seeing the overall grander scale of how big YouTube is and all the different channels that are out there.
No,
we're
people need to put their phone down, go touch grass, go hug a tree, and go live a life. People get stuck on just being online so much, and they fall into these little rabbit holes of conversation topics, and they think that the world operates in that manner, and it doesn't.
Yeah, it's people as big as Kevin Samuels was. It's people that never heard his name before.
Yep.
They're like, who is that? They like, who
yeah,
is
I
that?
mean,
have a certain mindset to look
hey,
up certain
Smith,
things.
by the way, shout out to Smith. He's a longtime supporter of the channel. He always sends me a couple bucks on Cash App, so I appreciate the Cash Apps all the time. Appreciate you, brother, for checking in with us. And he goes, life started in Africa, so it has all kind of resources that has been exploited for the booty, not only the booty, but the rare earth metals and everything else. Africa is absolutely the cradle of society. And Mosa, or the Homies Hub, the other day on the show was talking about America is ground zero. No, Africa is ground zero. If you're going to do anything in this world, Africa has to be fixed as a continent, as the individual tribes within the countries that are in Africa. That is ground zero. If you're going to fix anything, the ground zero needs to be fixed first. Where everything came from, where everything stemmed from, where all life comes from, is supposedly Africa. America is not ground zero. It's Africa. And if Africans themselves in their individual countries can't get through their tribalism and their separation and their greed,
that's true.
Nobody else is going to implement or enforce that upon them. Nobody can come to America and enforce their will on us. How the hell do we think we're going to go over there and enforce our will on them?
You know, I was looking on Wikipedia on like the presidents, and since they got their independence in the 60s, every president was taken out by a coup except the current president now, since their independence, which is crazy. They couldn't even keep a stable leader since independence. That's
Who is this? This is not Buck Travel.
This is probably Buck Travel.
This is not
What's
Buck.
going on, man? What's going on?
So now you're official of the Tether?
That's what I've been called on in this social media thing, because I don't hear this shit in real life. I don't hear this people talking about this in real life. It's like, it seems like all of y'all keyboard warriors, man. That's what it is.
Yeah, most people were.
I don't see this beef on, in real life, man. Like, it's just, I just don't understand. It's like, where did it came from? It's like, 'cause in real life, I've never heard of these terms like FBAs and tethers and all this. It's like, where's it coming from?
Facts.
It's like,
Everything kind of spilled, kind of got more mainstream, once the talk about reparations came into play, and a lot of prominent black people realized that, like, why is these black immigrants, or who are these people that's not supporting, reparations? And then when they pull back the curtain, they realize that they're, either Caribbean or African descent, and people really got hurt by seeing people had an issue with us fighting for reparations, and so it's been a lot of uncovering. A lot of people have been uncovering things and calling it up.
I mean, I don't have no problem with reparations. I mean, y'all deserve it. I feel like it should be strictly to FBAs, and I kind of agree with that point.
But see,
But
if you agree with that, then you understand why there needs to be a delineation and why there needs to be a category. Because overall, saying black American,
I just don't agree with the hate.
Listen. Overall, saying black American is not inclusive of just FBA. That means anybody that's immigrated over here, you're considered a black American. Even when we were trying to be inclusive and called ourselves African American, that included the other diaspora from Africa. But when you start talking about a specific award for children of slaves, you have to have a category. And here's the thing: black people always told you you're a day late and a dollar short. You should have organized earlier, and you should have had a name and a separation already established before the award comes. We're always told we're behind the time. So when somebody pre-planned, like Tariq Nasheed or somebody else saying, hey, we need to delineate, we need to have a clear dividing line and say, hey, children of slaves, we're going to start calling ourselves foundational black Americans. Because we need to separate now. If there is ever a time when there's going to be reparations in the future, whether we're alive or not, there needs to be a separation, just like there's a separation for immigration or for immigrants here. They have their own flags, they have their own identity, even though they say, well, we're just as much American as you. Yeah, you are in belief and structure. You're exposed to the American way of life, but you don't have the history established behind that.
That problem is, why are you guys following a dude as a bona fide drifter?
It's the idea. Listen, nobody's following.
But he's your leader.
Listen, no.
All this bullshit. And I'm like,
listen,
I'm all for reparation. I'm all for it.
You think I'm following behind a guy?
You guys are following the bona fide pimp, a dude that wrote a player's book. Like, this dude all over the place, and you guys are literally eating this shit up.
No, listen. This is no fault to you, but that's a shaming tactic.
That's not a shaming tactic. It's facts.
It absolutely is. Just because somebody comes with a good idea and whatever their background is,
I'm not attacking. Look,
Malcolm X was a criminal. Wait. Malcolm X was a criminal, so we didn't need to listen to the things that he taught us and follow behind him because he was a criminal. You're taking somebody's background and using it against them.
He's an opportunist. And again, I'm not pushing back against reparation. You guys deserve that. I'm not pushing against that. But yet you're following a man that's bullshit. Like, just
that's your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion.
Right.
That's your opinion.
That's a fact.
No, that's your opinion.
Listen, aside for that, it's a listen. Let's say this.
He ain't asking us for no money.
No, hold up. It's beside for whether it was he's a pimp or whatever his history is. Was the idea of delineation a good idea? Is there a situation where we need, as Black Americans that have been here since slavery and beyond, have to separate? If there is going to be some type of reparation in the future, there needs to be separation enough to say, hey, we're all Black Americans, true enough. We all live here, yes. But when it comes down to if there is some type of award that comes in the future, we're going to wait till the last minute to do it. Don't get your butt hurt over it. Just understand that there has to be some type of identifier between all the Black Americans and the ones that were here that went through actual struggle to allow you to take advantage of everything that's given to you because you are here.
Now the only flaw, the one flaw I see with FBA, like I think is perfect for the reparations conversation. But if we want to talk about scholarships or allocated funds, even if they put out a scholarship, okay, scholarship for foundational Black Americans, how the fuck are they gonna vet that? Like Africans are still gonna apply for it. Like people still gonna apply for it anyway. You
And
know what
they've
I
been
mean?
winning them. I mean, everybody that gets any kind of thing that's made for a Black or brown person has an African name because they have their heads up. And that's great. And like I said, we don't care that you're taking advantage of the system the way it is. But on certain things, there has to be a dividing line. Hey, you can wave your Haitian flag all you want. You have that right. We've given you the right of that based on all the struggle before you even got here. You can
Well,
wave your Haitian flag. You can
well,
raise your Jamaican
well,
flag. You can
I
wave
think
whatever flag you want. But at the end of the day, we still need to be separated from all those other flags.
Well, I think flag waving is disrespectful in my opinion, but you know they have the freedom to do it. But I think it's disrespectful.
Of course, it's in America, and that's their right as well.
It's a freedom of speech. I get it.
Well, I mean, hey, the Caribbean Festival, they're gonna wave their flags, bro.
Exactly, and we
It's
don't have
that.
no problem with you having that Caribbean festival.
No Black Americans can't go
And not
nowhere
every
and
one
wave
of
American
us
flag in
agree.
solidarity.
I mean, all right.
Not all of us
No
agree with
excuse.
FBA or anything like that.
Most
We're just
Black folks
talking
don't even
about
wave the American flags. You guys don't do that.
I'm just saying, if we did, it will people would feel very disrespected in these countries we
You know?
travel to if we waved our
I
American
don't think
flag.
so. I don't think so.
Oh, come on, bro.
I don't think so. Personally, I don't think so.
Okay.
Let's put it this way: nobody's butthurt over the white people waving the Confederate flag. But if the FBA's come up with a flag and a delineation is a fucking problem, and that Confederate
why
flag is
is
all
that?
about racism.
You can
right
go
now,
on any military installation and you'll see them riding around with the Confederate flag. No one says
And that's
anything
a
about it.
clear delineation between just being an American and being a racist ass American that's from the South that believed in slavery.
I'm gonna
That's
say
a
this
clear identifier of having that flag, but nobody's got a problem with that. But the
right
first
now.
time a Black person tries to do something differently and thinks it's a great idea, all of a sudden there's an issue with it because we're trying to separate ourselves from the overall
I
group.
wouldn't think it's an issue, man. I mean, again, I think, like, for instance, in Georgia, it's common to see a house with American flag in front of it. Like right now, I'm literally at my ex-wife's house picking up my son to take him shopping, and her
Yeah.
two next door neighbors. I'm looking at it right now, two American flags.
It's
And you
America.
know what that's called? Here's the thing. You know what that's
But
called? That's
that's
called patriotism. That's called patriotism. They
but do
believe in their
people have
country. Just
patriotism?
like you guys have the right for your patriotism to raise your flag in our country. You have that right.
But would you?
And also to my Haitian brother, let me ask you this. When you see a Confederate flag, do you have a problem in seeing a Confederate flag?
Doesn't bother me.
All right. So it doesn't bother you, but your children that you have with that African American woman, that flag was directly against anything that you have established in this land.
He's
I
probably
think you
doing
have to
something
mute
right now. He
yourself.
got the kids and everything around him, so give him a second.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, granted, out of respect, it probably impact her more than would it impact me, but I understand history, so I would not acknowledge that flag either. When I see it, okay, obviously I know how this how this person.
Appreciate that.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm listening. I'm
No, I
listening.
understand how that person feel and thinks, um, but from my ex-wife side of the family, I know that would be more offensive. But for me, I wasn't raised here, or I wasn't raised during that time when it considered as offensive to me, so I couldn't relate
Right.
to that.
But those people who are behind that, is everybody has freedom here. They can fly whatever flag that they have. But those
Mhm.
people who are behind that flag and who still drive around with that flag, to you, to them, you're just a black
No, I'm a nigga.
on this
It is
land.
what it is.
Exactly.
There's no denying. Wait, that's one thing I make it clear. Before they see Haitian or whatever, or I speak another language, they see a black man. So
Exactly.
that's something I'm not denying. I'm denying about. It's just like when I see the flag, it doesn't rub me a certain way because yes, I do understand the context and the history of it, but it doesn't impact me as it will affect my ex-wife's side of the family.
Of
You're
course.
very lucky.
I mean,
We're just
But
asking
I
for a
feel
thank
like,
we
you.
we
to be
we
honest, it
we
directs me. I mean, if I'm being aside, I mean, I feel some type of way about that flag. To be honest with you, I
What
won't
flag?
lie.
Be
The
specific.
Confederate
Okay.
flag. 'Cause
Okay.
like when I was in Southeast Ohio, and you know, even though Ohio was a Union state, they fought against the Confederate flag, Confederates. I went to Southeast Ohio, and I saw like Confederate flag, and I felt like some type of way
that's a
about it.
fact.
I was like, you know, I was
Well,
like, I
But
felt something.
but
It was like
here's the great
something
thing
that
about
wasn't.
what you're
Go
saying.
ahead.
Here's the great thing about that. It's called patriotism. So that means anybody is flying that flag, and usually towards a flag, you do a what? A pledge, right? You pledge your allegiance to that flag because it represents the patriotism of whatever nation you're from. So when somebody's flying the enemy's flag in your territory, it's an insult. That Confederate flag was a whole situation that people pledged to that had to deal with every bit of pain that the FBA understands. You get what I'm saying?
And
So when as an
we've
undertone to that pledge.
hold on. We've beat up. Not you know. You can see on YouTube. It's been white people beat up by toting that flag in the wrong area. You know what I mean? Like disrespect. Only there's lines. There's lines that people have crossed with flags. At least you know people with the Confederate flag. So you know.
I understand. I mean, granted, Georgia and Florida, you see these flags all over the place. I mean, if you go to Stone Mountain, you see the Confederate Monument. That's the first thing you see when you walk into the damn park. So Mississippi, same thing. Arkansas, I see it. I understand what it means, but I'm not stupid enough to think that hey, I won't get hanged if you know if someone actually were to see me at the wrong place at the wrong time. So it's just again the fact that I don't have the history context to understand the pain, but I do empathize. Like, all right, cool. Keep my distance. Be aware there's hate in this area, and I need to be knowledgeable about that. But you have a lot of people from the Caribbean, Africa, that are oblivious to what that flag means, and they think they could just go into any community and live in these communities, not knowing that, bro, you live in a racist town or you live in a racist sundown town. Like I've been to a sundown town in West Virginia. And I was told, hurry up and eat and go. You want to get out of here before that sun goes down. And again, I'm in West Virginia. I've been told that. Guess what I did? I packed my shit, got in my car, and kept driving. I didn't stop until I got to North Carolina. But
But for
again, just understand the context of that. An immigrant probably would not even understand what that person's saying.
All right, but some of us feel disrespect. Just how a lot of blacks feel disrespected by seeing that Confederate flag. A lot of us feel disrespected when other countries wave their flag, especially from black communities. You know, whether you agree with it or not, that's not the point. A
Well,
lot
let
of
me
us
ask you
do
this
feel
then.
disrespected.
Let me ask you this. What context do you feel disrespected when someone raised a Jamaican flag or a Haitian flag? Like how do you feel disrespected when someone does that?
It's a form of delineation. You know what I mean? A lot of people say that was everybody say we delineating
Uh,
first. We delineated last. That was y'all way of delineating by uh making sure we knew who y'all was. Um it's something we never do, visiting y'all country or in any event. And so it was that's the first sign of delineation. And
So in a case like in a festival,
wait. Before you follow up, let me give you my answer from a different perspective. He said it as a Black American or FBA. I'm saying as a military person with a little bit broader mindset and why I fought for freedoms here. To me, I take it as, hey, you're taking advantage of the things that I fought for as an American citizen and as an FBA. You're coming over here, you're able to raise your flag, and we don't give a fuck about what flag you're flying and proud to raise. That means we enabled you to come over here to do that. Where the disrespect and the line gets crossed is even though your flag raising, whatever flag you want to raise, because you had the privilege of coming over here because we fought for those freedoms. It's when you speak as if you know our history and you felt our ancestors' pain for us because you are a certain shade, a skin tone. That's when an FBA will get upset or start to say, hey, foul. Come over here, raise whatever flag you want, wave it all the fuck you want. We don't care. Just don't speak as if you are ghosting us as FBA. You don't know our history. You don't know what our ancestors had to go through. Wave your flags, enjoy our freedoms and the freedoms that you have here. Great. Just don't speak for us. Don't represent us as somebody kind of misappropriating culture, because we don't do it in your country.
Yeah, it's a way of discrimination too.
Well,
If you
can I say this then? I mean, personally, the only time I've seen other Caribbean people raise their flags, again, I'm only speaking for Caribbean people, are during festivals, parties. That's it. I have not seen any Caribbean people, particularly from the Caribbean, like, the main Caribbean islands, go walk around. No, again, speaking from what I've seen since I've been here, I've not seen them walking down the street just waving their flag, unless it's like a Flag Day, Caribbean Festival. I don't see it commonly like a random Jamaican just flying a huge Jamaican flag up on top of his car. I have not seen that. Unless it's outside of those contexts, most Caribbean are not waving their flags like that.
they putting the flag emojis up in these chats and comments though.
I
They
mean,
want to talk shit.
well, he's talking about public. Like, if you driving around, you see any people waving their flags like that?
No, I mean you see them in people's cars. I mean that's their personal property.
Yeah,
You
that's
know
it.
what I
Yeah,
mean?
but you probably see it in their apartment, in their dorm. Yeah, but where have you seen people openly raise their flag besides the Mexican that were doing that protest?
Yeah, that was crazy, man. That was that protest was crazy, man. They was waving the Mexican flag, and that I don't agree with. You see what I'm saying? That's like that's one of the things I don't agree. So here's the thing, BMT. I've seen others wave their flags, but what they did is they put the American flag above it. So they put the American flag above it, and
That's the kind of disrespect.
they put their country's flag underneath it, as a sign of respect. I've seen people do that, because if you come over here and just having your Mexican flag or whatever, people, Americans gonna do something about it. Believe me, on the streets. Yeah, you have the right, the freedom of speech, the right to do so. But Americans are gonna do something about it. They're gonna cuss you out in the road or whatever. You see what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah. A lot of y'all treat the America like it's the Olympics. Like when the Olympics, you see everybody pulling out their flag and you see all this country pride, but it's like people can't wait for an opportunity to come for them to rep their home country. Like I don't know, it's just to the average American, it just seems weird. It's like y'all come to America, a lot of y'all are American citizens. Like why y'all not? I can see if y'all was waving both flags, the American flag and the flag. It'll kind of make more sense. But it's just kind of like it looked like people wave it in a way of like it's like dominance, like they're planting their flag, like they have conquered something.
Yeah, but no excuse. The only time you see Caribbean people do that is during festivals. You don't see them do that outside of festivals.
Yeah, I mean that's you right. It's still cringe. It's still cringe to a lot of Americans
I
though.
mean, it's crazy, but your ass, you seen all that big ass dancing though. All them naked ass women with they costume like with the costume suits on. People having a good time. It's no ill will. Now the shit that I saw what the Mexican was doing, that's wrong. But
Yeah,
if it's
that was
outside of the
very
context
disrespectful.
of the
Yeah.
festival, shit, let them raise their flag. I see Palestinian flags being raised, Israeli flags being raised. I mean, come on.
yeah. Today I saw. So I was driving today, right? And in back of this SUV, I saw this person that had the Ukrainian flag and they had the Israeli flag. I was like, what the heck? I was like, why do they have these two flags on back of it? You know what I'm saying? It's like that to me. That's like a sign of disrespect. So it's like I said before, if you come in from a different country, you should always have the American flag first, then your respective country second. You know, because you're when you come over here and you become a citizen, you're an American citizen first, then your respective country second.
Right.
I can share this story. You remember when at a time where everybody was doing we're not standing up for the flag during the George Floyd situation.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, my son was playing football at the time. I attended all of his high school games. Whenever they played the Pledge of Allegiance, I stood up for that flag. While everybody else was sat down and protest, I stood up out of respect. Just like if I'm somewhere in another country and they're playing their national flag song, I stop what I'm doing, don't move until it's over, and I keep it moving. It's out of respect. But not everyone's going to see it that way. Because I remember during the George Floyd situation, Black Lives Matter, people were protesting that shit. But I chose not to. I told my son, you better stand up when that flag being raised and that song being played, you better stand up. Don't do that shit. You ain't taking no knee shit. You're not doing that. And again, I'm Haitian, but he's American.
Yeah, that's one thing. As a veteran, I've never disrespected my flag. I've never done any of that when it comes to the national anthem, how it was written. There's a whole history behind the whole reason why the national anthem is so racist and why they have a black national anthem and all these other things. Doesn't matter to me. It's part of the overall American history. And I didn't fight just for my race at the time when I enlisted. I fought for all Americans.
Yeah, and to piggyback of what happened in the LA riots, you had people that were waving the Mexican flag and all that. Just imagine if somebody who's American went down to Mexico City and start waving that American flag. Like them Mexicans over there, they would do something about it quick. You see what I'm saying? It's like only here you see that's being accepted. And it's like, and I don't agree 100% with that,
Unfortunately, it's America, and those are the freedoms we've given you guys when you come across the border.
Yeah,
that's why I said the other day, a lot of people feel entitled once they get across that border, and once they become immigrants here in America, they have the freedom of speech. They have the freedom, even though you have those freedoms, and yes, we have freedoms in their countries as well. There's certain things you should not speak on, period.
And that's why for us, for the Haitians, like the whole Haitians being deported situation, there are protests in New York, there are protests in Miami, and guess what we say? The news, like all the people throughout media tell the Haitians, do not raise your flag. And if you attend any Haitian protest, you will not see a Haitian flag. You will not see a Haitian flag within the United States. You will not see that. Now, if it's a holiday, special event, yeah, you see it. But for a protest, you will not see a Haitian flag. Because the Haitian Americans are telling, like, listen, you got to assimilate. You can't do that dumb shit.
No, you're right. I never seen too much from the Haitians as far as you see a lot of Jamaican flags, Trini flags. If I had to call out a group, I see them flags, Puerto Rican, Dominican, you see a lot of that.
And all we're saying is that more respect has to be put on the reasons why you're allowed to come into this country. Just have some compassion for the people who have been here from the very start. Now, there has been slavery in Haiti, in Dominican Republic, in Jamaica, and all these places. We hope that you guys will organize to get your reparations from the various nations who brought you there. Just like we're trying to do here. This is something that we can all work together on. It shouldn't be an issue of who is what and where and why, because ultimately all of the nations in the Americas, all the blacks who exist in those places came from the same point in Africa, which is West Africa.
Yep.
And for those that wonder why we're back on reparations, that's the whole idea behind why FBA was started and why it became such an issue. And it always circles back around to these same side conversations. Is piss poor planning lends to piss poor performance. Because as FBAs, we decided to go earlier to take advantage of the idea that Tariq Nasheed came up with and actually lend to it, meaning some time, if something does happen where there is reparations, we're not hoping it in our lifetimes. It would be nice, but nobody's hoping for it. We can walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. It would be nice if it actually comes down to it. There was already some kind of designator to understand who was who. Because we're all Black Americans at the end of the day. Nobody's taking that away from any other immigrant or anybody who's been here 2, 3, 4, 5 generations. That does not matter. We're all still Black Americans. But there still has to be a separation when it comes down time, if that ever was to happen. That's all this is. It's not a big fucking deal, but people are putting magnifying glasses to it and saying all this other side shit that's offensive. And then when you have the immigrants coming in posing as being authentic Black Americans and speaking on our behalf when we didn't ask for it, that's the other issue.
Yeah. That's the crux of everything. I mean, like I said earlier, Black immigrants, not all, but some, they always been talking shit behind closed doors and having their stereotypes. Like that always existed. And we just kind of looked at it as a fly on the wall. Like we got other stuff to worry about. But the reparations, the lack of support for reparations, that struck a nerve with, a lot of people in the Black community. And then the conversation got reignited with Essence Festival, you know. So
And not even that. Look at during the pandemic when the Asians were being sideswiped because the pandemic started in China, and they had the anti-hate laws when it comes to China. We have been waiting for an anti-lynching law forever. It was sitting on the books in Congress at the same time. What got pushed through and what hasn't still been approved? That's just a huge amplified on the level of importance that we still get in America versus other cultures that come in and get the head of their line privileges after we've been here.
Right. Don't they like a lot of them say they don't come here for civil, to fight civil rights, which I could understand. But if they understand if we were all on code for a lot of things, it will embetter all of us in the Black community. You know what I mean? We're not just fighting for civil, we're not trying to fight
But see, it's
civil
a
rights.
domino effect, like you're saying. Once America was to give reparations, guess what other countries would be called to do? Follow suit.
Yeah.
How South Africa got free, they followed suit from the encouragement from Black Americans.
Yeah, exactly.
So once the biggest domino falls, it starts that domino effect. The quicker we can get to that point, the quicker every other African nation in the world can receive their reparations. Because why? The big dog already coughed up theirs.
France going to be the hardest one to pull, though.
Of course, France has gotten paid, but like I said, France has gotten paid back from Haiti and some other countries as well. You literally got to kick France out and say, fuck you. Like Burkina Faso. Like the African Union. If you guys didn't know, African Union kicked France out as a representative. France was supposed to be giving up 22 million or some kind of annual fee in order to sit on the African Union board. And the African Union said about a year and a half ago, yo, you the bill is due. You owe. You haven't been paying. But you've been taking advantage of our rare earth metals. You've been taking advantage of our countries and our wealth. You got to go. And they kicked them out. That's a great step. That's a great first step. They got so many other ones to go, bro.
Yeah, man, it's a tough. That's a tough road, man. The idea of reparations, the implications. You creating. Reparations will create a large Black wealth class, not only in America but throughout the Caribbean as well. And I don't think a lot of poor or average white earners would be comfortable with. You know what I mean? Because a true reparations package should make us one of the wealthiest minority groups in the world. A true reparation package. And I just don't think.
And here's the problem with that. Even think about this. No excuse. That package could have been paid off by the money they sent to Ukraine. That package could have been paid for by the money they sent to Israel already. But
Yeah,
they, like I said, Johnny come lately. Everybody else gets the head of the line privileges, but yet and still, the immigrants can't see that in plain language right in front of their face. How many times we get put back for other things that come before, even though it was from a lost promise from our independence itself that we actually fought for. 40 acres and a mule. That's all that's come to was 40 acres and a fucking mule promise that had gone back on for X amount of generations.
yeah. I'm gonna say this kind of like as my closing statement, and I'll let Sean say something as well. Like, uh, Ted Cruz had said something on the interview that a lot of us probably already knew when I think Tucker Carlson had pressed him about his support for Israel, and Ted Cruz had mentioned that he he support Israel because of biblical reasons. You know, basically saying like Israel like is the chosen people. So they, so a lot of people feel like they have a uh, religious duty to to protect Israel, and if that is the case, then what would happen if black people are the black descendants of slaves are the chosen people? What I mean? What if that was the reality? Would we be just as wealthy as as the Jews if we were protected and looked at the chosen people like they
We wouldn't
say?
even get the same consideration.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I want to ask the panel. Salute to you all, you fellas. I got to go back and listen to this live. I was doing different things and I
Mhm.
missed certain things. But I was wondering, just to hear from the rest of you guys, if reparations should be looked at, for Black Americans in a different form instead of monetary, like maybe reparations in the sense of,
Give me the
maybe
40
not
acres.
paying.
I'll be happy with that shit.
Well,
I
I
don't want the
mean,
40 mule
I don't know
anymore.
if the
Give me the
40
40
acres
acres.
will ever be a thing, but I'm just saying reparations in the form of maybe no taxes or reparations in the form of free education,
Man, we're getting
college.
that right now, and corporations are getting free taxes, and they're making billions. What? How does that get us ahead? We dealt with redlining. We've been held back so many years of our own development, even after our freedom.
I
All
don't
we
know,
want is
Ronan. If
our
you if
original
you think
promise.
about if you think about somebody who gets a paycheck, getting the big number instead of the look number is huge. And you say you get that for the next, however many generations, that should be a lot of wealth that should be generated amongst those people or those families. You say, well, a person making six figures, I'm just throwing a regular $100,000 number out there. At the end of taxes, you only taking home 60,000 a year. Well, just take home the whole 100,000, and you take that the other
Jamal is
40,000.
saying cash payouts only, bro. I don't want no credits. I don't want no stipends. He said, "Give me the
No,
cash."
But
I
this
see,
can
is the,
see
here's the thing with that.
going with
That
if
goes
you
back to
say no
saying that
tax,
we're not
that's no,
responsible enough.
listen, that's no
That
property
goes back.
taxes,
Hold on one
that's
second,
no
guys.
property
Hold on one
taxes, no
second.
state taxes, no taxes on your
hold
food. If you're paying no taxes 100% to any black person, I can see where that's an advantage.
Yeah,
hold
but
Different
see
on.
that,
no.
but somebody say they want a cash payout. That means that what we're saying is that we're not responsible enough to put that money to the side, that other
Oh,
30% or $30,000 to the side, and grow wealth as we should.
say, hold on. Save your argument because I want, just so we won't go back and forth. I want y'all to close on on your question on uh alternative forms of reparations. I did a stream on this, and it went viral, and I had some good ideas. But y'all close with that. Y'all could take 5 minutes to get it out, but I don't want any more back and forth. Just kind of give a response, an elaborate response, and then I'll I'll end it with my response.
I'll go off for his premise. I'll go ahead and go first.
Go ahead.
So with the idea of taxation and giving all FBAs no taxes, I like that idea. I would prefer to have some land to go with it, because land is actually a resource that you have forever unless you lose it. So if they gave us, I don't even care about the 40 acres. Give me 10 acres. Give me 10 acres, because there's so many areas in the United States right now is government claimed land without it imposing on some kind of wildlife issue that they're not using at all anyway. Give me 10 acres and say I don't have to pay taxes on my land. I don't have to pay taxes when I buy vehicles or anything. When it comes to buying anything in the United States, I don't have to pay taxes on the land or anything else that I buy. I'll go for that. I'll go for that in a heartbeat. But give us something. Don't just not give us anything and just say you don't have to pay taxes. Taxes is fine, and you still had to buy something in order to avoid paying the taxes. So the leg up would be the 10 acres. You can sell off a portion of it, you can keep it, you can do whatever the hell you want to get your leg up. And then the rest of the time you can coast through life and not have to worry about paying taxes for you or any of your children. And yeah, you're absolutely right. You can invest that money that you normally would have to pay in taxes and other things. Now, if you're savvy enough to understand how to do that, that's great. If you're not, you better educate yourself. But I think if you give a black person a half a chance to get a leg up, which that's the whole issue with redlining and everything else from the past, we were never given that option. And even though we circumvented that system, they always found another way of knocking us back down. So you give me 10 acres and say I don't ever have to pay taxes ever in my life, and nor do my kids, I'll go with that. And that's my closing.
All right, thank you, Ronan.
Great show. Very happy I finally got on to join the panel. No
You got to
excuse
answer the question,
entertainment.
though, brother. Answer the question.
No, he gonna answer. He you gonna answer. I think he's about to answer.
What I was going to say, I really believe that we should organize ourselves and have these conversations more due to getting reparations. But since I didn't exactly hear the question, could you say it one more time and then I'll try my best to answer?
So my initial question was that we should actually be looking at alternatives to reparations that are non-cash based, like, hey, we're going to give you a check. So I said, how would and the panel feel if we got something like no taxes on, income, something like that, where instead of taking home 70,000 after $100,000 salary, you take on the whole 100,000, and maybe you set the other 30,000, which would have been taxed, to the side and grow your wealth generationally like that. You say a person that makes six figures, they could actually accumulate $300,000 in the course of 10 years. Or with the stock market being favorable, it could be even more. But I think that's a great alternative as opposed to the government cutting us a check. Because when people start getting a check, I think that's when others look. I mean, they're gonna look jealous. They're gonna be jealous of us anyway. We get a check cut or we get no taxes. But I think that's a lesser blow for people to accept.
Well, actually, it's probably not a lesser blow. The reason why it's probably not a lesser blow is because a check is a one-time payment, right? But if I said, okay, you and your generations are now free from taxes for the next, let's say, the amount of years that African Americans were put into slavery, you're now free from taxes within the realm of the United States for 200 years. Which one do you think that they would have problems with more?
No, just give your response as a clothing, because I don't want back and forth. So
I
just kind of
believe
give.
I believe that you would need either a one-time payment or land. But even if you have land, people are still going to have a problem with it. So I would just say it would be easier on the United States government to just cut a flat check.
Okay. Um. What would? Okay. What's your? Did you have anything more you want to add to your or respond to your own question, Drew?
Um, just I see what he's saying. Just to say one flat one flat check. But like I said, in my idea, I would just do no taxes for FBAs. In my opinion, that's what I would do for everyone. I mean, I'm FBA, so I'm gonna think positive for us, to where we get that money back off our labor, because that actually incentivizes, maybe it hopefully incentivizes people to get out there and work, that maybe are milking the system. They always say, oh, you got these women who are not just sitting there collecting a check, or people getting welfare, which the black people are getting welfare, which we all know we don't get as much welfare as white folks. So I mean, but I maybe incentivize people to go out there and work and say, I'm getting the full $50,000, that I go out and work for every day, instead of the whatever, with taxes. But that's just my idea for us.
Well,
Okay.
okay, my bad.
Okay.
No, let me just say this one point. Um, if we were to take no taxes, you have to be able to look 200 years of how that's going to affect other groups in this country, because they'll continue to pay taxes, while yet there's a certain group that already they have a problem with, for whatever reason, namely racism. They would now, we would catch up, but they would be losing. It would be a problem. And we have to look outside of our own selves and also put ourselves in other people's shoes. And then we have to think about, okay, what about when a FBA, quote unquote, which I don't even agree with, the terminology, but let's just say, what what happens then? We're free from taxes, but we're having children with these other communities. Where do they fall? Do they pay taxes? You understand? People, literally, white folk would make their daughters marry in to ours so that they don't have to pay taxes. You feel me?
Hey, I always said that the quickest way to get rid of racism is inbreeding. Breed them out. Fuck it. But that's not the closing argument. But that's what I'm saying. This can
Yeah.
go around and around and around.
Yeah. I need to do a part two to
Yeah,
my
but you
to
have,
the.
I
No.
definitely agree there needs to be a part two, but I'm just saying, look how people run the system now. There's a big immigration thing because people have snuck over here into this land, and they're able to get citizenship from having kids here. Now they're a citizen, and then they can go back and get their parents' citizenship, even though they came over here illegally. What I'm saying is that would open up a lot of trouble, and we have to think about those things. So a
You
flat
know,
check payment is safer for the United States government.
I I just would like to say this, and there's no slight on the gentleman speaking, is that is I always find it funny that we look out for the feelings of others, but nobody's looked out for our feelings for the past 200 years. And it's
Right.
like, oh, how would they feel if they did this? How would they,
Well. Look.
when yeah, go ahead, sorry.
No. 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 That's a different aspect of your question. Is more about what's the alternative, right? So all y'all kind of gave y'all opinion in y'all spiel. So let me give mine so I could kind of close out. Um, I left this comment up. Carl said the cash equivalent to 40 acres and a mule in today's money. The only problem I see with trying to even issue 40, the equivalent 40 acres of a mule, when 40 acres and a mule was proposed, the black population was less than it was today. You know what I mean? So if we got it at that time and then extrapolated it, it would have been up to those individual families to to upkeep that land and to make sure they didn't sell out or anything like that. So it's hard to apply that concept to a larger population when we were a smaller population. So uh that's the only, issue I kind of have with that. But my proposal for reparations was that the end result should result in us being the wealthiest minority in the United States. You know what I mean? So what does that look like? The wealthiest minority group in the US, I don't know off the top of my head, but could it, is it Jews? Is it is it Asians?
Indians. I think it's Indians or Asians. One of the two are the top two minorities.
Okay. So reparations should make us, I would argue that we should be the wealthiest minority group, right? So that would mean that, so what I looked at was, what is wealth? What is wealth in the United States? Wealth is land ownership. And, and I worked in finance, so I studied this. Wealth is land ownership. Wealth is stock ownership, right? And cash and equivalents, right? And no debt. So when we look at, so if we want to be wealthy, we have to have a mix of everything. We have to have cash, we have to get land, and we have to have some form of stocks, stocks or bonds, because that's what white wealth is built on, those three things. So it has to be a mix of all those things, not just one. I do agree with um not paying taxes. The government could circumvent one day, because they may say, well, people under this, Trump already talking about it, people not paying taxes that make under a certain amount. Um, so, what I mean, so other people could eventually get that. I think we should have, student loan forgiveness for all FBAs, free education. Um, there should be a financial literacy component as well. And the only problem I have with cash, people will give you cash right when they know that the dollar is going to devalue. You know what I mean? People can manipulate your blessing. All right, we'll give them $1 million, but next year the American dollar is going to crash and it's not going to be worth anything. You know what I mean? So I would, I would rather lean towards having more, solidified wealth instruments like land and stocks and equivalents. It could be gold, precious metals, things like that. So that's kind of my argument, but that's all I got, man. 3 hours and 45 minutes. Um, you know, I think we should have another conversation on reparations. The last time I did a stream on that, it was really well. So I'll try to put another stream on that topic together. But yeah,
Please
I
do.
appreciate everybody
Please do.
coming up.
Please do. Thank you so much for allowing me to come and speak just for the few minutes that I did. No excuse. And please do put together something and let everybody know ahead of time so that I think everyone can have their good talking points. Do your research before you even come up on the panel. Because I think a lot of us just speak out the side of our, let's say speak out the side of your neck. But thank you so much allowing me to come up.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, I'll definitely plan it and make sure it's scheduled so it ain't no random live like today. All right, fellas. Well, I'm gonna get out of here, man. Peace out.